Hello and welcome to another podcast. I'm Fettouhi and let's talk games. This here is a E3 wrap-up, you can call it. And today we actually have a guest with us. It's Britt from the Speed Gamers. Welcome to you, Britt.
Hey, Fettouhi.
Hey. Let's start out with what have you been playing this week? You just finished the marathon, so you've probably been sleeping most of the time, right?
Yeah, right after the marathon ended, I slept literally 18 hours straight. But I've got to play. I played Peace Walker a little bit during the marathon, and I've been playing it after the marathon, and I love that game. It's one of my favorite Metal Gear.
Yeah, I haven't played it that much yet. I picked it up the day it came out over here, which was a week or 2 weeks ago, I think. And I played it a little bit, but I've just have so much work. So I've been beat up every time I came home. So I haven't played that many games. But anyways, it's cool to have you here, and thank you for coming. Also, I think we should check out a little bit some of the new releases that actually came out this week. Do you remember any of them? Have you checked any of them out?
No, actually, I haven't checked them out this week. Since the marathon, I guess I've just been kind of zoned out.
Yeah, understandable. Well, I don't know if you heard, but actually, Transformers is being rebooted, or game-wise is being rebooted. Transformers: The War of Cybertron came out June 22nd in the US, and I think it should also be out in Europe. Let me check. Yep, it came out yesterday in Europe also. This here is, from what I've seen from it, it's out on PS3, Wii, 360, every console you have, handhelds also. I only think the only one which is not on is the PSP. From what I know, it's a third-person action game, and it's actually gotten pretty good reviews. Have you seen anything of it actually?
Yeah, I did remember that came out. I was checking out the E3 coverage on IGN, and yeah, it got pretty good reviews. I actually think it got a 9 on IGN. They said it was the best Transformers game out there. It looked good. I liked the co-op elements to it.
Yeah, I'm just checking up on Metacritic actually. Let me see here. Where's the? Let's take 360 Transformers Cybertron. It's a 77 right now on Metacritic. Let's see what the scores are. IGN gave it a 90. The highest one is a 94 so far, and then it goes down to the mid 60s. So it's definitely, and users give it a 9.3. So users like it a lot.
Yeah, I was thinking about hopefully it'll go on sale this week in the Steam sale, and I'll maybe pick it up. Well, I guess it's pretty new, so the chances of that happening are slim, but it does look good.
Well, Steam is doing crazy stuff all the time, and since we're on that topic, since we're talking about what's coming out new and all that, Steam, as we talked about before we started recording, is having a huge sale on every weird collection they have. Star Wars, which I know Britt was actually thinking of picking up the Force Unleashed limited Sith edition. They have Codemasters, all games for 66% off. They have an indie pack. They have Square Enix packs. They have Valve packs. They have Ubisoft packs. K2 complete pack games. It's insane what they're doing. They're really kicking off the summer season really hard, and I don't think I haven't seen anybody being so aggressive lately with sales like Steam has been, especially since Christmas actually. Do you remember any of the great Christmas deals they had? Those were insane, right?
Yeah, it's actually a funny story. This was before I had my PC built, so I didn't really have a gaming PC, but I really wanted to try Mass Effect, and I heard they had it on sale for really cheap. So I told Russ as soon as it was built, or as soon as I built my PC, I was like, I have to get Mass Effect. Well, during the marathon, apparently they had it on sale again they had the Mass Effect 1 for $5, and I think they had Mass Effect 2 at a 66% sale, and I missed it. So I'm hoping that for some reason they'll put it on sale again this week. But yeah, since Christmas, Steam has and they have the best sales definitely online. They way outdo Direct to Drive, in my opinion. I like Direct to Drive, but Steam I like a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Director Ive is a okay okay place, but Steam really since they done the update with the new client and all that, it's really gone up. And now since they have Mac support now, and Valve is pushing some of their source engines out, so the games are running on Mac. I think for PC gaming, you want a good client that you can buy games and you have digital download on the fly. I think Steam is definitely the leading front on that.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted. I also picked up. I'd never seen Deus Ex, but it was on one of the games on sale, and that's turned out to be pretty cool too. The only reason why I got into it is because of that trailer I saw at E3, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, Deus Ex is really it's really a great game, especially the first one. I didn't like the second one so much, and the third one is definitely looking great, which we're going to talk about a little bit later also.
Cool.
But a lot of the games came out with, as we talked about, said Transformers was one of them. Actually, a favorite of mine, which I actually just got in mail today, was Dragon Ball Origins 2 on the DS. It's a little bit like Zelda, where it's just more level wise, where you actually clear an area and you follow the story in the form of young Goku. This here is the second part. If you're I don't know if you're a Dragon Ball fan, but
Hmm.
I was a huge one. I am a huge one. Um, the second one starts out right after the first one. The first Origins game ended, and it's right after the first tournament, where he goes out and explore the world. And I think some of the battles we're gonna see is, of course, in that game is the Red Ribbon Army and some of the other interesting stories that ends there. I picked it up, and it plays just like the first one. I don't know. Have you tried this the first one at all?
No, it's been recommended to me a lot, and I really want to check it out. I'm a big Dragon Ball fan too, and I hear lots of good things about it, so that's on my list of games to get.
Yeah, and if you want this here is more action adventure game. If you want a pure standalone RPG, I actually finished this game just last weekend, and it took me 20 plus hours to
Wow.
finish. So that's a huge game. Uh, Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans. It's the first saga of the Dragon Ball Z series, the Saiyan series, where you already everybody knows, or I'm not going to spoil it, but everybody knows where it ends, and it's pretty much straight out of the book, the comic series or the manga series and anime, and it's standalone RPG, just like the first Final Fantasies, where you just run around, random encounters. You have from one to three characters in your party, and you learn, of course, new moves from the people that you meet. It's a really great game. Definitely recommend that. If you want a more RPG style, and 20 hours you're definitely gonna you're gonna use for that game. It's really long, actually.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a bigger fan of the Z series than I am the Dragon Ball. So I've actually that's what I've been wanting to pick up, and that's good to hear that you get 20 hours of it. And it's RPG. It's straight RPG. Like
Straight RPG, not a huge lot of graphics. It's the voice. If you hear voice acting like move styles, it's the Japanese voices that they use. No dubs at all, and it's simple. You don't need the stylus at all. Just you just use the buttons to select your attacks or your powers. What you're gonna use, you select the move for every character, and after that, they of course do their moves, and you power up with stamina and tactics and all that stuff, just like a Final Fantasy game. It's pure. It's so simple. It's really nice. I definitely recommend it for fans.
awesome.
Well, let's see here. What else do we have? Actually, a game that's actually not out in the US yet. It's coming out this Tuesday in and I picked this game up. It's the game called Singularity. It's a first-person shooter game. It's gonna be out for PC, I think. Let me check just real quick. Singularity is Singularity. No, not PC, sadly. It's going to be 360 and PS3. I picked it up for the PS3. This game here is it has a lot of inspiration from BioShock. If you've seen some of the trailers for it, and I don't know if you've seen anything of it, but um, it's actually where you have your two hands. One of them is your gun. The other one has the TMD, which is um, a alternate reality device which can alter time and space. And actually, I was hoping when I saw the game that it had the controls as Bioshock 2, which I know you played and I've played, and we really like the controls that you can use both hands at the same
Yeah.
time. But sadly, no, not in this game. It's the first one. You can only use one hand at a time, but it's actually a pretty interesting game. Um, it's coming out as I said this Tuesday. Definitely check it out if there ever is gonna be a demo out. But I think you should pick it up for sale when it's on a sale. It's not worth the $60 yet. And that's pretty much it for the releases. As for news, we pretty much, in my opinion, haven't seen a lot because pretty much we've been posting. Every blog has been posting E3 stuff, uh, which pretty much it's almost 2 weeks since the E3 started, and well, people are still posting stuff that's coming out from. I know Richie was on Jimmy Fallon's show last, I think yesterday,
Yeah.
wasn't he? And
Yeah, I
he,
watched that.
yeah, he told, which in my opinion, Richie pretty much said at the press conference that 3DS is coming out next year, but he confirmed it again. So not a lot of news. So I think what we're gonna do now is pretty much start out with our E3 wrap up. Um, I'm 100% sure you pretty much have seen every conference. Probably not while the marathon was up, but maybe afterwards. Um,
Yeah, I watched Nintendo's live and then I rewatched I was gonna I really wanted to watch Sony and I'll talk about that I guess whenever it's a funny story about that. But yeah, I rewatched Sony's and Microsoft afterwards.
yeah, I think we're gonna do the chronological order. I sent you a text where you can see some of the spots that they did, and I think we're gonna start out with Microsoft. And Microsoft, when we all know Microsoft and Sony and everybody does a huge show for these press conferences and started out with a big bang. Microsoft showed, of course, um, Call of Duty Black Ops. Well, I haven't. I play Call of Duty, and I gotta say, it, even though it looks great, people are hyping it up, and Microsoft has the exclusive DLC for a year now. Um, I can't get excited about it. I'm probably gonna check it out. It looks cool. It's got a jungle style to it, but I can't get excited about saying, well, yes, I'm gonna get this the first day and start playing multiplayer. I've never been a big multiplayer. How about you, Britt?
Yeah, I didn't play. I know. I think everybody's played Modern Warfare 2, but I'm just not. I guess I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan. But this one has interested me a bit because it's set place in the Cold War, and I know it's been done before, but it's not been done near as much as like
Yeah,
the
World
World
War.
Wars.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
or the some of the Modern Warfare which has gotten really popular with it looks like Medal of Honor and other games are going into that. But I the trailer was pretty impressive, and I know my friends that are big Call of Duty fans are really hyped for it. So I think I'm actually going to give this one a try, which I know for a gamer is probably weird not to have played Modern Warfare 2, but I'm just not that big of I guess a war or first person shooter war game, more of a Call of Duty, but this one I'm actually going to try out.
Yeah, but Call of Duty always been a more of a competitive after they switched over to Modern Warfare. It took over most of the Halo, no, not
Yeah.
most of them, but uh, people, when you see the media and all that, people were talking about the Call of Duty online multiplayer stuff a lot more when it came out then, and Halo just pretty much got lost in the background. And I know Chase probably gonna beat me to death after saying this, but I agree with them. I have played both, and I like I like the Call of Duty style more because of more team based, but not so much skill based. Where I know the edge that Chase has is more he wants to be the skill based guy, but that's Chase. But yeah, I'm gonna check it out, but I don't know if it has a good deal with maybe I don't know. Maybe I should pick it up for Xbox for some reason because of the DLC and all that, and check that out. I don't know, but anyways, I agree with you. Definitely a cool intro to it, a trailer and all that, and the gameplay looks great. It had some surprising elements where you're in the tunnel stuff and you had some shocking moments. Maybe the story is. I hope the story is a lot better than the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 because that game was pretty boring. But let's skip to the next one. The next one I know you and I are a big favorite of it.
Yes.
Um, Hideo Kojima came out and announced last year that Metal Gear Solid Rising, was a game that was coming out to the 360 and also the PS3. He was at the Microsoft press conference last year. He came out again this year, and he was there for like maybe 2 minutes tops. And then Shinjiro Matsuyama was introduced, which is the leading producer for Metal Gear Solid Rising, and he showed us what Metal Gear Rising is a bit about, and it's about cutting stuff. And I gotta say, the game looks gorgeous, and I like the game mechanics, but the problem is it was a demo. We didn't see how it's gonna play, and I hope for Microsoft don't use Connect with this game, please.
Oh
It will,
God, no.
yeah, it will ruin it. Definitely controller wise, but I'm interested. You see, I don't know if you remember. You see where you cut one of the people in half, and he's in the air, and then you rotate the cutting angle, and then you cut another thing. I don't know. Do you think it might slow the game a bit down, or do you think the controls might be done so well that it actually might work?
That's my biggest concern, and I have very, very mixed feelings about this. I'm really excited. Definitely, it's most likely going to be a first day pickup for me, but I am worried about how well the slowing down of the. I mean, how is it going to work with the flow of the game? But yeah, the graphics are good. I do think it's. I've seen a lot of. I've been looking a lot into it. I don't think it's as good looking as the PS3 exclusive, just probably because of the fact that it was developed specifically for the PS3. So I think the Metal Gear Solid 4 looks a bit better than me. I think the art style is a little um, different in Rising, but it looks. I mean, it's going to be. It looks like a kind of straight hack and slasher with the new mechanic. I'm really interested to see how this mechanic works. I am excited for this game, but I want to get my hands on it first before I guess I pass judgment or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. The game mechanics is definitely something a little bit iffy in my opinion, depending on how it's gonna do. And from what I get the feel of, I actually think it's not a stealth game, but I think it's gonna be maybe a little bit like Ninja Gaiden, maybe not so hardcore, maybe a little bit more stealth, but I think it's there they're going because of from the tech demo they showed, or the demo they showed, you didn't see him with a gun at all. It was the sword fully.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see, and it's probably going to come out next year. I'm not betting at all this year. And let's move on. Microsoft then came out, and I can't remember who came out, but anyways, the guy who came out announced that the next things were pretty much only on Xbox. So the next couple of games we're going to talk about, or the next lot of games we're going to talk about, are pretty much Xbox exclusive. And the funny thing is, after when I saw this live, and I was just like, did he say exclusive, Xbox exclusive stamp? I think they're ripping PlayStation off with their what they did. They're all only on PlayStation, only on Xbox, and all that. I don't know why they're rip. It's logical to say it, but I just found it funny that they branded that they branded themselves like Sony, but hell, it works for them, and it's a way to make people easy to understand that this here is only available on Xbox. But the next one that came out, of course, is one of their big franchises. The third game in the series, Gears of War, Cliffy B came out. And I actually just saw on Kotaku a movie where a guy who was really excited about this game. But the demo they showed, it looks like Gears of War 2. I can't see the graphics update that much. Only the difference is it's not so gray as the other ones have been. I remember the first and the second. The first one I played a couple of missions of. The second one I've only seen trailers from and demos being played. And it's always been in a gray bomb city area where ash is around and all that and buildings. This here is a more jungle environment, so maybe it's the colors that people don't understand, that it's actually still the same graphics, but maybe a little bit of tweaks, of course, but just just some new colors. Maybe that's what people need to get used to. But I don't have I have neutral feelings on Gears of War. I'm not a big fan. I don't hate it. It's probably I heard it's a great co-op game. Now it's four-player co-op. I heard the stories is good, but have you played anything of the series?
Yeah, I just hopped into the series actually this summer and been playing co-op with a friend at work. Um, I can say one thing that they do know how to make trailers. I know each of the trailers that they have been really good and very good music with it too. But anyways, yeah, the new one, what is it called? Something to Ashes. The new trailer for
Oh
Gears of War
yeah.
3.
Mm.
That was done really well, and but yeah, like you said, the graphics look. I agree with you that seems like the change of environment is what's kind of made the graphics look even better. It looks the jungle environment I think is going to do a lot for the game, bringing out new colors and stuff like that. But yeah, it looks pretty good, and I'm interested in it. And I haven't finished. I haven't finished Gears of War 2 yet, but I'm interested for sure.
Yeah, but that's is that this year or is it next year? I can't remember actually. I forgot to wrote that down. Is it to 2010 or is it 2011?
I think it's this this
This
fall.
this this fall?
I think. I can get check for you real
I never
quick.
can. I couldn't remember. It's. I don't think he said. Did he say it? I can't.
April. Oh, it's April 5th, 2011. So
It is.
it's
It is 11. It's in a year. So a year away. Um. Well. Well, Halo is out this year, so
yeah.
people can probably wait for that. Let's hop on to the next one, which came out, and that's Fable 3. Peter Molyneux came out and talked a little bit about that, and I just don't know if. I played a little bit of the first one. I actually own it on Xbox. Haven't played the second one. Third one looks the same, in my opinion. Not that big a deal. I actually thought Peter Molyneux was gonna go with the game with the little kid instead that he showed last year. But EK Fable Free. The only thing that really scared me when he said when this was not E3, it was before E3, where he talked a little bit about Fable 3, and he said about that it's gonna be less RPG and more action. I was just like, isn't the RPG what's pretty much keeping this this series going? But I don't know. To me, nothing changed. It's just new story. You go through for being a king and to losing it all and probably fighting the bad guy. I couldn't get much of the trailer and what they showed. I don't know. Could you get anything out of it?
No, see, Fable's one of those series I haven't stepped into. Tyler's recommended to me, so he pretty much told me to skip over one and go to two. He says two's a much it's much improved, but the trailer that I saw of three, it wasn't definitely wasn't a bad trailer, but not it didn't have me go pick up two and play it right away. So thought it was an interesting trailer. I was a little like you said about the talking about the RPG elements. I was that's what I want to try to get out of it is the RPG part. So hearing about the action, keying in more in the action was a little weird. So um, hopefully by the end of the summer, maybe I'll get to try out too. But I actually don't know too much about the series. I know that my friends in high school were all big on the first one, but I didn't hop on the bandwagon. So hopefully I'll try that out before the end of the summer.
Yeah, I only heard great things about Fable and all its greatness, but maybe I think actually from what I know, actually the first one is actually better on PC. I actually got it on Xbox from the live games that are down, but I think PC with the PC version is actually better because the add-on. Um, there's an add-on for the first one. It's actually gotten better support on the PC if I remember correctly. But the second one, I haven't played that at all, and I don't know. You remembered when Peter Molyneux last year came out and said that the second one was gonna be able to play in chapters where you can buy each chapter. Is that something you might try?
Yeah, the thing with Peter Molyneux, it's like, I mean, I like the guy, but it's like he has a problem with overhyping his own games. I think, I mean, it's cool that he's excited about his games, but sometimes he overhypes them, or at least in my opinion. I don't know, but I don't. I guess I'd have to try the game with that with saying, or I'd have to try the game to complain. So, but
Yeah,
he gets
definitely.
really excited about what he does. That's for sure.
Yeah, actually, I think you can try. I think what was it, the first half hour of the game, and then you have to pay it, or the first chapter, and then you have to pay for the next chapter. But I actually think if you calculate it, actually, it's more expensive to buy the chapters than actually to go out and buy the game. But I haven't done the math. It's just something that I heard, but it's funny
It's a cool
and
concept, I guess.
yeah, buying it as you go, but it's still it to me it's weird because I always maybe I don't finish a game instantly, or at least the later years I have really had a hard time to finish all the games that I buy. Um, in the earlier years, I pretty much sat down and played a game for straight 20 hours if I had to finish it, and then go on to the next one. But I have too much. We all have too much to do in our lives when we get older. It's much easier when you're younger. Uh,
Yeah.
but to me, it's still weird. When I buy a game or buy something, I don't want to have to say, okay, I can't play it anymore. I need to pay extra to unlock it. It's a concept a little bit. It seems weird to me, but I'm a generation older than you in gaming, game
Mhm.
wise. I've been, but it's weird to me. But maybe it works for the modern people. I don't know, but well, um, I'm gonna check it out. The second one, the first one from what I played wasn't that impressive, but I think it's old Xbox game. I actually think that it's not a 360 game, the first one. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why I was a little bit disappointed. Anyways, after Fable 3 was announced, Crytek was revealed to be the new partner with Microsoft, and they are going to make a game called it has the code name Kingdoms right now. And from the trailer, I couldn't get anything. It was just like the only thing that I know because I saw um, some from Game Trailers interviewing him, actually asking him about it, and as saying, "Is this going to be a first-person shooter game like Crytek is famous for Crysis? We all know, and it's not. That's the only thing that we know. But to me, I was just like when I first saw the game, I was just like, Crytek, is this? This looks like the Clash of the Titans game. I don't want to see that. But it I after I saw a little bit more of the trailer, I was just like, oh, this is weird. But well, it's always nice to see Crytek actually developing or going to console instead of being on PC. I still remember when I got my hands on Crysis One the first time. I was just like, I can't run this game. It's impossible. But what are your thoughts on Codename Kingdoms?
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way as you do as far as the trailer. It really, I guess the only thing it really tells you is when it's set. But
Yeah.
that's about it. I actually didn't catch the interview with the guy. I guess it was kind of more of an announcement that hey, Crytek's going to be making a game for a console, which is kind of rare. I think what the new Crisis that's going to be on console too, isn't it?
Yeah, first time on
Yeah.
consoles. Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of was their way of saying hey, another Crytek game's coming out. But the setting interested me and what it looks like it's set in. Well, actually, it's even hard to tell. Maybe
The Middle Ages. It's probably either fantasy like Clash of the Titans, we are talking about gods, the mythological Greece and stuff like that, the Olympians, or it
mm,
could be just like Lord of the Rings, or something totally different where it's maybe a realistic middle age game where you fight kings through the country of Europe or the Roman Empire or whatnot. There's a lot of possibilities. I don't know. From what I've seen so far, it's a man who has blood running down his arm to his blade, and that's pretty much it. It's but yeah, from the interview afterwards, he actually said, yeah, there's not so much in the trailer. It's more like a way of announcing that the Crytek is actually gonna join up with Microsoft. So we are probably not gonna see this game until 2012, I think.
yeah, that's a good, I guess too.
Yeah. Next up was Halo Reach. I know Chase probably played the beta a little bit, and I actually heard that he wasn't really a big fan of it. I played the beta. I actually liked it because it's so much like Call of Duty, and that's probably what Chase didn't like about it. uh, we saw some more single player footage this time. They've really been focusing on the multiplayer, and that's probably because the beta was the 2 weeks that we had in April, I think, if I remember correctly. And the only new thing they showed us was actually there was going to be a space battle. That's pretty much it. And I was just like, this is pretty cool, actually, but
Yeah.
maybe the Halo fans are going to hate this. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I got to hear a lot about this during it. I know that Tyler was really into the space battle. I forgot who he said. I forgot which team he said has worked on that portion of the game, but it was another team that was, I guess, had done the space battle system before. But he really liked it. Yeah, like you'd said, Chase did not like the Halo Reach beta, but I know when he rewatched the new trailer, he saw that I think Firefight's going to be in Reach and what he saw of some of the newer weapons, it looks like they have a call-in system where you can call in some type of launch. Chase thought that was pretty neat, and Chase actually he liked the new trailer that they'd put out. I watched it too, and I think the space battles was definitely interesting. That's definitely something that's probably more single player oriented, and I'm more of a single player person, so that was interesting. I'll be definitely checking it out. I'd like to play a Halo game. Not that the other Halo games, their stories aren't bad, but you're definitely right. It's all about the multiplayer for Halo, and this one looks like they might it might be a little bit more interesting, I guess you'd say, with the added space battle. And I guess this is the last Halo game Bungie's working on, so they're going all out with it, and it looks to be paying off.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I've played the first and the second one and the third one, and to me, it's all been about the free first game. Has been about the single player because the story is actually when you play the first three, is actually pretty great. they've really done a great job with the story, an interesting story. I actually watched, and I don't know if you have access to it. I think Zoom TV, or maybe you can get it from your Netflix. I watched the Halo Legends, which is the production IG anime of the Legends series, the Halo Legends series. And it's pretty entertaining, and the story is actually pretty deep. The Halo Legend anime is it's bits. It's not a full story. It's bits of. It's just like the Animatrix. If you've seen that, it's small episodes through a 1.5 hour movie, where you see parts of the Halo story, where actually who were Spartans and what they had to sacrifice and all that. I know actually. Tyler recommended to me actually reading the Reach book, but since Reach is coming out, I don't want to spoil it for me. Maybe because I might get disappointed about the Reach story. I know
Mhm.
Reach is the last battle for the Spartans, and pretty much nobody came out. They came out. That's what I know, and pretty much it's spoiled anywhere. But how it's going to be done, and how it's going to be, and what the people on Reach go through. I'm gonna see through the game first, and after that maybe read the books. I don't know. Have you heard about the books at all?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Tyler recommended the books for me, and I've heard from other people that it's actually really good. They did a good job on the graphic novel or whatever. But I saw it at Lone Star Comics not that long ago, and I almost picked it up. I just flipped through it. I haven't actually don't know much about it, but I hear the story's done really well, so that really excites me for the game itself because it's means it's got something good to go off of. But
Mm.
yeah, I haven't got the chance to read it, but from what I hear, it's positive things.
Yeah, we just have to check it out. It's coming this fall, Reach. So, um, well, let's see how it goes. Probably gonna sell huge. But the one thing I'm not sure about is if I'm gonna get one of the. There's a special edition, and then there's a legendary, just like the third one, and it's priced like 150, $200. So
Yeah.
they know what they want, but I don't know. I'll have to see how much money I have then, and if I want to pick it up for fun. But anyways, after this, the event, in my opinion, dropped a lot down for Microsoft, especially game wise, because they pretty much switched over into the Connect mode. They showed the Connect. Um, they showed off how it's going to be used. And I know I've talked about this, but this and I was pretty. I said some bad words about Connect, and I'm gonna say a little bit again. I don't know how stupid can they be when we're talking about the first time we saw Project Natal in motion. They just by hand motions flipped through like a book pages. And now the way that they show it now, you have to hold your hand straight in front, wait for it to activate the icon you have your hand over, and then it loads. To me, it's just like, give me a mouse and I can do it faster. Give me a controller, I can do it faster. And it's just like, how stupid are you gonna look if somebody walks by your window and you just stick your hand out like, use the force, Luke, push the TV. I don't know. To me, it's. I don't get it. I don't get why they switched over to that. Maybe it's technical wise. I don't know. Uh, the rest of the stuff with Xbox turn off, Xbox play, Xbox stuff, all the things. Uh, I don't care pretty much about it. I'm not gonna pwn out $150, and that's the price, people. $150 for a Connect, and if and you have to not only do you get the power supply with it, but you have to have an extra power supply hooked up to your Xbox. If you don't have the Xbox 360 250 gig, which is Connect ready, has a special port which actually sends out power to the Connect. That's the only model that has it. Else, it's an extra power supply hooking up. I don't know why they did that, but anyways, I don't get it. I don't get why they. to me it was easier just to flip through the things instead of the mouse thing, which takes a lot of time from what it shows. But what's your emotion from it? I know you've seen probably also the chat stuff, and and I don't know why I would do a voice chat watching watching movies. It's unrealistic for me to use. I don't know what's your opinion about it, Britt.
Yeah, I have actually a lot to say about this, and it's not good. I last year when they put out, when we got to see the first little glimpse of Natal, I wasn't impressed. I mean, I was intrigued, but I wasn't. I was gonna save judgment, and we saw a lot more of it at this E3, and I just think this has the potential to be something very bad for Microsoft. One reason for, like you said, the connectivity issue with having to have a certain Xbox, and when they are
Oh,
when they
just to
do finally.
clarify, sorry to cut out. Just to clarify, you only need a certain Xbox if you don't want the extra power supply to hook up,
Yeah,
and that's the only thing. But they call it Connect Ready, and it's just I think it's a marketing problem when you say I need this Xbox is Connect Ready. This Xbox is just Xbox, but it uses Connect.
yeah,
It's misleading. But go on.
yeah, yeah. It's just $150. I don't think I don't think the price point is too terrible, but it's just I don't know. I think they're kind of late in the game as far as I don't know how you would kind of group it with how you would term it as far as Nintendo's Wii. I guess you would just say the motion
The
controls.
motion control war. I
Yeah,
don't think they're late on it. I think they are choosing a wrong turn with it because nobody is gonna. And a lot of people have commented on it. I don't know if you've seen bonus round and all that. When we're talking about Connect, people say, "Why do I need to get up from my couch to play games? That's not what gaming is about. You sit on your ass and push buttons and have fun." That's gaming, and you can sit with the Wii remote, still sit and do stuff. You don't have to stand. You can still play the games. If you know, it's this here is meant. The problem is, from what I've heard, if you sit down with Connect, the Connect looks in your body and actually marks off your whole skeleton, every junction from your knee, your hip, everything. The problem is when you sit down, your knee and your hip is the same point, so it can't see the difference from it. That's what I've heard is the big probably the biggest problem with it. You can't sit down and play games with it. For instance, the racing game, which we're gonna which we can talk about now. For instance, the racing game that they showed off, where you actually have to push forward to boost and to drift, you have to throw out your hip. I like to see somebody try throwing up your hip while you're sitting down. If you're not going to move your couch, you're probably going to bash up your hip then. But
yeah. It seems just with at least the move and the Wiimote, you can sit down and you can play. With this one, it's not. And what I meant late in the game, it just seems like even with Nintendo started out really strong, but it seems like the novelty of the motion is it's going out the window a little bit. I don't know if Microsoft's going to be able to capture that last bit. I think it could, because I know they're not. It's definitely. I don't think they're trying to get any of the. I guess you'd say hardcore gamers, like us or whoever we're branded, but um, maybe there isn't still a market left for the yoga moms and the yoga women and the yoga guys or whatever the workout stuff. But I don't know. I think it because of it's what 1 or 2 years after the whole or it's over a year, the whole Wii Fit fad, which it's even dipped. I don't know if Microsoft can recapture that with Natal, and it's going to take for me to buy it. It's going to take some software that I'm interested in some title that uses it. And right now, nothing that I've seen has gotten me. I mean, it's some of the concepts are cool, but it's just it's nothing that I'm going to sit there and play for a long time. Maybe if a family type thing, but yeah, nothing that I'm. It's kind of pushing me right now. Maybe I was intrigued by the Star Wars, but it still wasn't. you know.
Yeah, it's a tech demo. No real name. You don't see it, and actually, from what I've heard from people seeing it, the guy who showed it off, I actually know if you've seen the video on Kotaku, his movements when he did something, actually the movie was in front. So there was no tech demo. It was probably big gag. There was nothing ready from Star Wars in my opinion. From what people say, it was there was something really weird about something when you throw your hand out and 2 seconds after the guy and the screen moves. That's a huge delay even for a game. So there was something wrong.
Yeah.
Definitely there. But yeah, I agree with you. I for a gaming device, it's not gonna work. Hell no. No hardcore gamer is gonna pwn out $150 this fall to get this device. The only people that want it, and Michael Pachter said this, he's gonna get it, and he's probably gonna get it for free anyways. But enough about that. If he's gonna go out and buy it, he's going to buy it for his mom or his not his mom his wife his children and all that because they are probably don't know how to use the control and all that, and it's nice to uh, to have the easy voice commands and all that, but I still see problems with that because try having two children argue what to see because it doesn't register the voice itself. It just registered the command because I could pretty much call up on a speakerphone and says Xbox stop, while another guy maybe that picked up the phone was watching a movie just to annoy him, or or two children arguing what to see. Xbox stop, no Xbox play. I like to see Michael Pachter in the room watching that, his children fighting over what to see, Disney cartoons or a Warner Brothers movie or whatever it is. It's weird. I don't think it's gonna work, but maybe for, as you said, yoga moms, which we can talk about now. Your shape, Ubisoft is coming out with that. That's definitely Wii Fit lost there. Wii Fit does not have the precision as it looks like the Kinect has because it can mark out your whole body, your size, your shape. You know how your size is. It can tell you that your leg is wrong, and it has your personal trainer. That's probably going to sell, but still $150. We don't know how much your shape is going to cost. Probably $60. That's $210 just for that bundle, and you need an Xbox including on that. If a soccer mom doesn't have an Xbox, she wants this. That's a lot of money. On top of that, you can get the Connect through an Xbox for $400, but you still need $60 for the game. So that's $460 to get a workout. Where the Wii is still a lot cheaper, and you probably get thrown in the Wii Fit for $50 somewhere. I don't know. It's hard to get in this battle, but I think that's the cool thing, and I think also Harmonix may be actually doing the right thing with Dance Central. As for the other games, Star Wars, which we talked about, nobody knows what that's going to end up in. It looks like if you analyze the movie, the videos, it doesn't work, or there's somebody actually doing the moves for him behind the scenes. Forza, don't want to hold up my hands for 40 minutes playing a game to hold invisible an invisible
Steering wheel.
steering wheel, and the other thing, ESPN, which was really great. I think that's a huge stunt they're doing, just like they did with the other stuff, Twitter, Facebook, Netflix, and all that. ESPN is a great step for them, but
Hmm.
I don't want to buy Connect for you just because I can flip around ESPN, and ESPN is only US anyway, so a lot of people in Europe and Japan don't care about that. So to me, Connect really doesn't have that big a thing. And the new 360 250 gig still, even built-in Wi-Fi, and the small form factor, which is not that small in my opinion. I was actually hoping smaller. Uh, it's not worth the money. I think it's too expensive. there's no games out there. It's a gimmick. It's only gonna work for people who really I need to work out or I need to have something so I I don't know how to use this controller. So it's definitely not market for people like me. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think 3 years, 2 or 3 years from now. I mean, I could be wrong because some fads. I mean, the Wii took off, but I just don't see it. I don't see Microsoft catching lightning in a bottle. I just think that 2 to 3 years from now, we could be saying, "Man, that was a big money loss for Microsoft."
Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't think they're gonna lose money with the 250, or with the 150. Sorry, um, this it's gonna come in. It's paid for when they launch this. If they are losing money on 150, then the device is not worth the money and not worth making. The camera is it's two cameras and a microphone inside of it, from what I know. And it's I don't think it's 3D cameras anyway, so probably special lenses or something. I haven't looked up the specs, but anyways, it's weird. But the press conference ended on that, and to me, the only thing, as a lot of people who were on the were in at the press conference, so the only great thing about the press conference really was that they got a brand new 360 for free, which I thought was like, okay, that's buying people, that's buying the audience. But well, if that's the way they want to do it, um, fine. I don't see the new 360 doing a lot of things. Especially one of the things I looked at when they showed how they showed actually how one of the tech guys came up to game trailers and actually showed how you can dismantle it and still it's still removable hard drive. If you have an old hard drive from your 360, you can't use it. It's a new form factor for it. I think it's smaller, but still built in some plastic. So you can't you will have to have a transfer cable from your old 360 to new 360. You can't just take off your old 360 hard drive and put it into the new 360 Slim or whatever it's called. And I think that's definitely a stupid move from them, especially since the new 360 to 50 gig doesn't come with a transfer cable. For so stuff like this, for free, you will have to buy it yourself. That's probably 10 $20 on top of the $300 plus no HDMI cable anymore in the package. That's $10 $20 on top of that also. And if you don't have HDMI, the high definition cables are not included anymore. The only thing you get the low definition cables and included with the box. That's it. So they've taken actually a couple of things out of the box and put in Wi-Fi, but you still have to pone out, let's see, $50 for the rest of it. And I think that's something that they should actually tell people, that it's actually 350 or 400 350, yeah, $350 if you want HDMI, you want a transfer cable and all that, because it's probably a lot more expensive to buy on in the GameStop store or wherever you buy it, because from what I've heard, they're gonna have to have it on demand, buy HDMI cables if you want a console with it, instead of you have to go into another store. But I don't know. Have you checked that out? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I've seen the new Xbox. Actually, I expected that. Me and local were talking about things that would, uh, what we kind of predicted for E3. That was one of them. I thought it was pretty cool, the new Xbox and some of its slick features. But I think HDMI cables are almost there to where you can leave. I mean, almost to the point where they're standard enough. But yeah, it would have been nice had they did one in the box. The transfer cable I could see definitely a little bit more. That's if you're not going to be able to, if you're not going to give the people the ability to switch hard drives. I think maybe, especially if Microsoft was manufacturing them, that would have been the better route. But especially because now the 360 is so late in its lifespan. A lot of the buyers of the Slim or whatever the new Xbox is called are going to be a lot of a lot of pre-owned or a lot of owners that have already owned an Xbox. I mean, I do expect a high percentage are going to be totally new Xbox owners too, but there is going to be a healthy percentage that are just wanting to upgrade. So yeah, I think the transfer cable was something they should have maybe looked into it. Not too big of a deal for me overall. I think it was a pretty. It was a good move from Microsoft. The Xbox underneath everybody gets a free Xbox. That was a little Oprah like. I don't know. Um, there must have been some marketing research behind that, but I don't know how I feel about that. But I guess it was cool for them to give the credit. But yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, but again, it's got built-in Wi-Fi now. They took some stuff out of it. They redid the form factor. It's rumored that there is going to be a smaller version or arcade version of this. But then again, what's the price going to be on the 250 gig hard drive? If you have to upgrade to it from your arcade, I don't know, but we'll see. Anyways, the old Xboxes are pretty much sliced $50 of each console. So if you don't own an Xbox, you can just go out and buy the old one. But from what I've heard, the new one is really really low noise compared to the old one, which is insanely loud compared to other consoles out there. But that's pretty much it from Microsoft. In my opinion, they had an okay show, but for me personally, not a lot of interesting stuff there. Some things to look at, but I have other things. Not my money can be spent elsewhere. I don't know what you see from
Yeah,
that.
I didn't think it was a horrible press conference, but it didn't. I usually expect one big exclusive title, and there really didn't drop. I mean, nothing new. We already knew about Gears 3, Reach, Rising, and
Fable,
that's not even
and all that.
exclusive. Yeah, it's just it was basically they were really banking on Connect and the new Xbox, which the new Xbox was cool, was a little bit of a surprise. So it definitely wasn't a bad one, but there was nothing like what I guess what we're about to talk about, what Nintendo did.
Yeah, Nintendo had in most people's opinions, probably the winning press conference. And I don't know about that, but anyways, let's get into it. Nintendo started out with the biggest bang of all, or not the biggest bang in my opinion, because we already knew that a new Zelda was coming out. Miyamoto had leaked that he is working on a new one, but we finally get to see it and actually get to see it in action. Zelda Skyward Swords, which requires Motion Plus if people don't know that already. We saw that, and Miyamoto had some problems with with actually performing this because from what he's told, from people told was Wi-Fi issues, and I've talked about that before, and actually tweeted a little bit about that. I don't think it was the Wi-Fi that did it because I have Wi-Fi in my room and a lot of other stuff in my room that pretty much burns out radio waves constantly. But I actually think it was from my experience, I had a lot of problems with not a lot of problems, but the gyroscope that's in the Motion Plus actually needs a lot of resetting. And if it's not reset, it actually can do a lot of weird stuff. And it looked like it wasn't reset at all from when Miyamoto picked it up because the aiming he did was horrible from start of the press conference from the Zelda demo. But the game to me looked like a Twilight Princess, not too much graphics update. It looked a little bit more interesting, the story wise, but I still think in my opinion, still looks like it's gonna be a redone of Twilight Princess or Ocarina. Excuse me, Ocarina. Ocarina of Time. Oh God. Uh, anyways, what's your take on it?
Um, well, I have uh, kind of, I guess, once again, mixed reaction. I The graphic style, yeah, very similar to Twilight Princess, and it looks like a kind of the color scheme in Wind Waker is kind of a pseudo cell shaded look to it. But yeah, I've taken a lot from Twilight Princess. That's my biggest complaint is that I was almost expecting kind of an overhaul, just a new direction, especially I mean, the gameplay could be an overhaul. Well, actually, I mean it definitely is with the controls and stuff. But that's my biggest complaint. But the story. Um, from what we heard, sounds pretty cool with them living in the Sky City and um, coming down. It sounds like they're, especially the way they started with Majora's Mask coming across the screen, kind of showing, I think they're doing emphasizing story a little bit here. I thought it was cool they brought back the blade shooting. How he points to the heavens and he gets the power and shoots it forward. That was pretty
Yeah,
cool. Um, I'm with you with the whole I'm not too worried about the problems they had, but it was weird. It's like they almost as if they I don't know how many times they rehearsed it, but that we didn't go over. It didn't look very well for Nintendo, and I think the distance also could have had a little bit to do with it. It's just like they didn't practice it or whatever. But
I think it worked in the tech demo. I think again, if you haven't, I don't know if you have ever experienced Motion Plus for
yeah,
yourself. The whole problem is that the XYZ needs to be reset so it knows where in time and space it is from the screen, and that's the first thing it does through the game. If you waggle a lot, and you do that with the sword fighting in Red Steel 2, it actually gets confused. So you need to reset it, and I think that was the problem with um, with what Miyamoto had, because when he tried to cut something, he would stab instead. So from me, that would definitely look like the controller didn't know what his movement was. And since it's a Wii Motion Plus controller, the whole thing that it does gets every information, of course, from the the accelerometer in it and the gyro that is in the Wii Motion Plus. That's my theory on it. But I don't know. The whole thing about it, the story wise, I still think from the looks of it, we didn't see much gameplay wise. It was more mechanics. The the sword fighting, how it's done, that you have to cut specific angles to kill to kill enemies. The lightning that you said that you get the power up so you can actually shoot with your blade again. The new gimmicks with the blade with the bombs that you bowl with them. Um, the new feature with the flying crab or a bug that was there, so you can pick up bombs from a distance and fly them into rocks and stuff like that. Um, it's all interesting. The gimmicks work, but the whole thing is that for me, it's it still looks the same, and that's why I can't get excited about the game. I can't say this is the Zelda that I want right now. I think it's the Zelda that's going to sell well. I think it's the Zelda that's going to be interesting to see what actually is going to become. But it's not something that I'm going to say is the best game at E3. I don't know what your take on that is.
yeah, I'm pretty much like you. I'm highly excited just because of the potential. I hear that these are just rumors, but that they're gonna try to story wise put a lot of side quests in like they did with Majora's Mask, but that's unconfirmed. So I'm on the fence about it still. I was, like I said, a little bit disappointed where they went. Not that it graphically is bad. I guess it's because I had some pre expectations because they were really talking about how Twilight Princess was a GameCube built game, and that for the Wii they were going to be able to really to use the power, the little bit
Yeah,
more power that's there. And so I was kind of half expecting, something different, which they did. They added the splash of color, and it does look a little bit more graphically detailed. But I guess I was expecting uh, Nintendo to be more risky,
Metroid
I guess you'd
graphics.
say.
Metroid graphics. That's what I want to say. Metroid Other M is the game that looks best on the Wii right now. And I was hoping definitely that they were gonna kick it up a notch. Definitely trying to put out as much power with the weed as they could, but it looks like they reached their limit, or it's just like the focus was it's maybe pushed over to the motion plus controls instead of making the game maybe a little more modern, because we are still talking about a console that is still 3 or 4 years old in technology compared to the modern high end console that are out today.
Yeah, um, and that's why I thought because of its the disadvantage it has graphically, that we might see something, I guess you'd say extreme and change the art style. I don't know, usually, Nintendo changed it up with Wind Waker, and I thought
Yeah.
maybe
Mm.
kind of like what they did with Kirby, not a Zelda yarn game, but just something pushing the envelope. I
Something
noticed,
different, something
yeah,
innovative. Yeah, I agree with you, but a bit disappointing on that part. But the game looks great. It's probably going to play well. The story's probably going to be okay. But again, for me, it's not exciting that much. The other thing they talked about, NBA Jam for Wii is going to come out, an exclusive thing. I don't know if we're going to see the old NBA Jam game coming back. It's just something that I put a mark on, saying that because I actually love that game. The
me too.
arcade, the arcade style, doing jumps from the other end of of the ring or of the of the field in basketball. It looks interesting. We didn't see anything. It's just talked about. One thing I didn't, I couldn't care less about it was the Mario Sports Mix, which is coming out next year. Um, Another Wii Sports game with Mario and all the other characters in it, playing hockey, dodgeball, and all that. It's just, I couldn't care less. I don't know how you feel. You probably play a lot of those games because you have Tyler and Rob and all that over at your place a lot.
Yeah, I was that was actually, we were just basically, when we were watching it, we just kind of sat there and we were just kind of like laughing, but yeah, if they all play decently, I'll probably like pick it up because like you said, for a party game, sometimes those are fun, especially when you have a bunch of friends over. It could be fun, especially I was Mario playing hockey is intriguing for me, but yeah, didn't. I was on the chair, still sitting down on that one. Wasn't too
Yeah,
excited about it. It was. It'll probably make them money though. But yeah,
definitely. It's a new Wii Sports game, I think, with Mario in it, and it looks better. It's and maybe hockey and dodgeball is more fun. But last year Ubisoft came out with something a little bit similar. At least I know dodgeball was in it, and it's just like, why this now? But hell, it's Mario. It's probably gonna sell.
yeah.
Next one that came up was Just Dance 2 and Just Dance 1. I don't have, and
Oh,
I'm not going to pick that up. I don't know about you if you're a dance fan, but I
no.
couldn't care less.
Yeah, that was this part right here, the Mario and the just. I mean, I was even kind of excited about NBA Jam because I'm a fan of that. But yeah, the Mario Sports Mix and Just Dance, that was kind of the lull of their conference right there.
Yeah, that one that they went south there. Well, let's skip that. Nobody wants to cares about that anyways. Next one that came out, Golden Sun Dark Dawn, 2010 DS. Um, um, it's coming out this year or this holiday. Um, it looks like it's not a remake because last year they actually, you remember probably, Golden Sun
Mhm.
was announced, but from what I heard last year, it was actually a remake of the Golden Sun series. But this here is actually a new one, and I actually have both of them on Game Boy Advanced. I actually got them because local actually told me they were good games, so I got them from. I think I got them from Amazon. A great deal. But this game, it looks great. Again, it's a DS game. Like the graphics are not like astounding, but it doesn't look bad. Look, it's probably gonna sell. It's gonna be decent. I don't know. Have you played the Golden Sun series?
Yes, I have actually. one of my top RPG series. I love Golden Sun, and when they announced it last year, I was really surprised. I thought that was one of the. I know it didn't sell horribly, but it wasn't a big money maker
The
for
sequel
Nintendo. So
didn't sell that well.
yeah,
The Lost. What was the name? I can't. The Lost.
I
The Land.
can't remember either. I remember the having to put in that long code that they give you. It was kind of ridiculous because I didn't have that.
I haven't finished the first one. I played a lot of the first one, but I haven't finished the first one and get the code to get to the second one to upgrade that. But I have them both again, and I have too many games that I need to play. But
Mhm.
did you also get the feel from last year that it was a remake of the games?
Actually, I didn't. I had no idea. I was torn, and I was wondering if I kind of thought it was a new game. Just hearing some of the stuff that was after the press conference, but yeah, I was looking forward to this E3. I was scared that because we basically heard nothing from it between
Yeah,
this E3 and last. I was scared that maybe it had been canceled. So that was whenever they put it up on the screen, I was excited that it was there and we got to see. And graphically for a DS game,
I was
it
actually,
looked pretty good.
yeah, I was actually thinking all the DS games were probably going to be delayed because they're probably going to be forced over to go over to the 3DS. Um, but it looks like Golden Sun is DS standard for the DSi and the DS Lite and all the others. So I don't know if all the new announcements from now on, or maybe when the DSi DS 3DS comes out, it's only going to be on the 3DS that they're not going to make old school games anymore and not going to support the old handhelds anymore. I don't know. I'm a little bit scary about that. Um, Nintendo is, in my opinion, really hard on people to switch over to new consoles, uh, or maybe forcing them. But we'll just have to see. Golden Sun definitely interested in that also. Next one I'm not that hype about because I actually never got into the GoldenEye series. But GoldenEye 2010 is coming out, the Wii edition remake of it. Um, Everybody says that GoldenEye was the game that um, invented a lot of things where was to push first person shooters and all that in front. But to me, I have older games that I find more inspiring before the Golden Sun series. But maybe it's just me, or the Golden Eye series. What did you play Golden Eye when it came out on the Nintendo 64?
Yeah, I was one of those kids that played I countless hours with GoldenEye. Me, Robbie, Chase, and his brother. Robbie used to come over during the summer when we were younger, and literally it was probably every day we played GoldenEye, and same with all my friends. We all played GoldenEye, so I was one of them that played a ton of GoldenEye. I can't even. We used to play this game type called Man with the Golden Gun. Basically, everybody else had normal type guns, and the
Yeah,
golden gun is a one shot type thing. So I had tons of fun with it. I went back to it recently just to try it out, and it's one of those games that doesn't hold up at all. It was really bad to play, but at the time it was amazing. So it's cool to see the remake, but I've heard some hands-on. I think some people, some had some hands-on, and I hear that it doesn't. It plays a little bit, or it is a Wii game. It plays quite a bit differently. Like some of the maps. I'm hoping they bring back some of the older maps. I haven't heard if they are, but they did look like they were sticking. Like they had the whole Daniel Craig jumping off the dam. They were definitely trying to conjure up old feelings from the original GoldenEye.
yeah, but
I want to get.
it's
Yeah.
just weird to see Daniel Craig in it. And the other thing is, with as you said, maps and all that, how they're going to support this because the Wii is horrible when it comes to online, especially when it comes to online content, since the Wii doesn't really have a hard drive. It's pretty much SD cards and all that, and all the technical issue about downloadable content for a game that is so hyped up and so as as Reggie said on the show floor, so important for first-person shooters. How are they going to support that? Do you have an idea on it? Because I'm pretty much a blank here.
I'm guessing that they're probably literally going to give you no DLC as far as map packs and stuff like that. I'm guessing whatever is packed in the game is what we're going to get. I'm just worried about what they're going to pack in the game. I want to get some of the library, the just some of the old maps that I remember playing on so many times. Just hopefully those are in the game, and I would guess that they would be just because Nintendo really played up with the whole trailer thing of having the whole what is that called, like a group intervention. I forget what that's called. Anyways, they played up the nostalgia factor of it, so
Mm-mm.
you would think that that would be their key thing to play off of. I'm really interested, and I want to get a play the demo. It's just I want to see if they can kind of play on those old feelings and make you feel like you're playing the old GoldenEye with just updated features, better controls, better graphics. But that's a is that a November game? Is it November of this year that that's coming
Yeah,
out?
it's fall, I think, if I remember. It's this year, so it's probably going to be fall. So they're probably far on it, maybe tweaking it a little bit. But yeah, if it's going to be a bummer if they take out some of the old maps. But who knows? It's so hard, and that's why I have such a weird issue also with the Conduit and the Conduit 2, a game that is so much looking as a hardcore first person shooter game. And a hardcore first person shooter game today needs a lot of DLC to keep it going.
Yeah,
Especially when we're talking hardcore multiplayer, and the Wii is not suited for it. They have nothing when it comes to DLC at all. They have no good online connectivity, especially voice chat and all that. Um, Problems with hooking up games with the friend codes and all that. It's just horrible, horrible, horrible. I'm haven't and never connected to online and played online over my Wii because of all the hassle with the codes and all that. And I know it's meant for children and all that, but again, you can put on age logging on most of stuff, so I can't see a problem with it. But they took a really bad turn there, and that's why maybe Michael Pachter, when he said the VHD and all that, they should definitely focus more on online. But well, maybe Nintendo doesn't really care about it, just want to put out games, and this here game is probably going to be average and just sell okay, and maybe get some nostalgia back, but I don't think it's going to work well, especially since it's pretty much online. That's the driver for most games these days, especially first person shooters.
yeah.
But enough about GoldenEye. Let's skip it on to the next one, which is Epic Mickey. We heard about Epic Mickey before E3. We haven't seen any footage of it. We saw some footage this time. It's a 3D game, um, third person. You run around, paint stuff, or uh, remove paint with your paint remover, thinner, or whatever it's called. And then there are some 2D style games with some 3D effects in it. I don't like it. I gotta say. I think what they should have done is this is because I actually loved some of the old Mickey Mouse games, and I think they should have done what they did with Donkey Kong, which we're going to talk a little bit about later, fully 2D. I don't think the 3D is going to work for people. It looked a little bit awkward, and the jumping mechanics didn't seem. To me, it seemed like a bad adventure game with some okay platforming, 2D side scrolling stuff implemented in small sections. But as a total game, I don't think it's not gonna work for me. I don't know if what your take on it, Britt.
I thought it had some interesting concepts. The painting and erasing. That'd be cool to see how that pans out through the game. What I thought was really cool was the going into the old clips and playing the platforming portion of it, the 2D platforming. Um, I forgot what the episode of that Mickey Mouse is called, that first episode, but thought some of that stuff was cool. So I don't know. That's one of the games I'll probably wait for to see some critics reviews of it. I don't know if I'll pick it up the first day, but yeah, I was one of those old Mickey Mouse. I have Mickey Mouse capades, and actually I loved that game. And
Yeah, Mickey
so
Mouse
yeah,
Quest. I can't. Is it called Quest for something? Because I remember it. Where and that's actually if I the best game I can compare the old Mickey Mouse games to is actually the old DuckTales games. If you remember those.
oh,
It,
I have the two of the DuckTales on the
yeah,
NES. I have DuckTales and Mickey Mouse capades.
yeah. Those are pretty much the games that I think though you should not change it over to 3D. I think it's definitely uh, the 2D stuff. What they did that if they have done that the full game, I think people would have jumped up their chairs instead of doing the 3D. Um, but maybe it's just me. Maybe it's gonna sell well. But definitely a game that I'm not gonna pick up at launch. Definitely wait for it, and it's coming out this fall also. Let's jump over to the next one, which pretty much was. Well, I've seen on game trailers it's the game of the game of E3 this year. I'm a little bit torn about it. Actually, I didn't know it was for Wii when I saw it. It looked to me like it was a DS game again, but when I double checked on it, it was actually a Wii game. And I'm talking about Kirby Epic Yarn. And the title Epic Yarn after Mickey was just, is he serious, Reggie? Are you calling it Epic Yarn? But I don't know. To me, it looks to me when I first saw it, I don't know if you how your feelings on this, but to me it didn't look like Kirby because Kirby was is a big blob with eyes and a big mouth that eats stuff. This here is definitely different. Where your yarn, they changed up him, it changed him up a little bit, but he still looks like the same. But he's just you can see through him. That's the funny part of it. But I definitely like the aspects that they take in some realism photos into the game, where you see some of the backgrounds where it pretty much look like real clothes, real cotton and stuff, where you pull a string and it pulls everything together. It's an interesting game. That's probably the most interesting game in my opinion for Nintendo right now. But the one thing I'm again a little bit concerned about, a little bit iffy about, is the controls, because the swinging mechanics are. Do I have to point at the screen with my Wii remote, or is it just old school platformer where I just hold two buttons and on my D-pad? What do you think, Brett?
Yeah, I was wondering that same thing, but I really liked that trailer. That was um, besides the 3DS, which we'll get to in a little bit in Metroid. Uh, I really liked it. I didn't expect that at all. The art style looked really good, really creative, and it was all positive for me for Kirby Epic Yarn. But yeah, I'm wondering how it's going to play. I'm hoping I'm hoping kind of turn the controller sideways, old school
Yeah,
platforming, and
same here. But I have a feeling it's going to be like Super Paper Mario, where you have to point on the screen to pull stuff and all that. I have a bad feeling about it, and that's where I'm a little bit iffy about it because it if it works, it has to work really well, no problems at all. If it doesn't work, it's just like it's going to be a hassle, and you're pretty much mostly going to enjoy um, the the platforming aspects. But the problem is, a lot of the boss battles, from what they've shown, you have to pull strings on it or yarn from it, and then if the mechanics are a little bit iffy, it's just I don't know if the game will work for me. I'm what they did with Super Paper Mario is really limited, but this here is more precision and from what it wasn't a tech demo, it was just a demo again. So it's hard to figure out if people at E3 booths actually got to play it and will it work. It's coming out this year, and I think it's this holiday. It's not fall, it's holiday, so it's coming out for Christmas. I might pick this up from launch, um, but it again it depends on. We're probably going to see a lot more of it through the upcoming. I think GDC. No, I think Tokyo Game Show is just before Christmas. Maybe maybe we're going to see a little bit there. But what do you think?
Yeah, I could see it working if it's you've got the analog, the nunchuck in one hand, and you've got the remote in the other, and you've got A and B, which would be the trigger, and then the thumb, basically where your thumb's at, and then having to point. Um, I could see that working too. But yeah, I'm gonna wait for a, hands-on on it. I'm pretty excited. It's probably well, I'm not sure if I'm gonna pick it up day one just because that holiday season is pretty packed with some good games. That's one of them too. It's gonna be kind of a crapshoot of which ones I actually
Yeah,
decide to pick up.
but do you think there's going to be co-op? Because we did see a blue Kirby,
Yeah, I think I heard there is gonna be co-op. I think that's what I heard.
local
Which
probably, no online.
yeah, yeah, probably local. I would doubt the online portion of it. It would be a surprise if they did, kind of just icing on the cake. But yeah, I'm guessing local only.
Yeah, so that's definitely interesting. Definitely until now, Nintendo's best game so far for their press conference, in my opinion. Next game they showed off, which is or was Dragon Quest Nine. It's already out, and Japan has sold a ton of copies. It's coming out July 11th in the US. RPG game, not so much to talk about. Probably a lot of people already imported the game. Next game they talked about after that was Metroid Other M, August 31st. Again, all these dates that they show off, in my opinion, is hard to tell because Nintendo is not the best to announce games, especially dates for or for other regions than US or Japan. So all these dates are a little bit iffy on Europe. I'm really hoping that August 31st for Other M is worldwide or at least US and Europe. Because I'm gonna be pissed if I have to wait a year or a half year for Other M. But it looks good. You're probably gonna pick it up, right, Britt?
Yeah, that's a day one pickup for me. I'm super excited for
Yeah.
Metroid Other M.
The funny
And
thing
from
is,
everything I've heard, oh, go ahead.
the funny thing is that it's on my birthday. It's coming out.
Oh, so that's got to be a day one pickup for you.
Yeah, let's see if it's coming out over here because the problem is I can't pick it up or import it if it's not released over here because the Wii is region locked.
All right, yeah.
So that's a big that's going to be a huge blow for people if it's not worldwide release. But anyways, we already knew that it would come out, so it's not a big. They didn't talk a lot about it. They showed a trailer, which looked good. It was a there wasn't a lot of new things, but it looked interesting, and it
Mm.
still looks great. Definitely the best looking game on Wii so far. The other one that came out, or not came out, but was announced, was Donkey Kong Country Returns. Um, I never been a big Donkey Kong Country fan, so to me, I'm not interested. But go ahead, but what are your thoughts on it?
I'm actually Donkey Kong Country was one of those games I played when I was younger. I remember being so hyped and excited for that whenever I believe I was in fifth or sixth grade when it came out, maybe even fourth grade. And I know that the day it came out, my mom had said if I'd got all A's on my report card that she would rent it for me the day it came out. So I'd got that the day it came out, and so Donkey Kong Country has always been one of my favorite games. And I actually have a they had a what was it, Nintendo Power would have this thing where they go around and set up little video game. I'm not really tournaments, but I played in it. I won a VHS tape of the making of Donkey Kong Country. So whenever they showed this, and especially because it was retro, that was making it, I was really really happy. And that's another game day one for me. Looked really cool. I'm extremely excited about it.
Yeah. Again, I played a little bit of it. I could never get into it. Even though I'm a huge platformer, but just monkeys or apes or whatever they are. It's just I couldn't get into it. So no feelings on that at all. After that, they pretty much stopped talking about games for Nintendo, and it was the 3DS reveal time. They came out with it in a turquoise way. I was a light blue or what? Light blue something color. Talked a little bit about it. Got let's see, two 3D cameras outside, one camera inside. No, one camera outside, two cameras inside. Wasn't it that, Britt?
Yeah, with two cameras inside
Yeah.
because of the
A widescreen at the top, a normal screen at the bottom. Got a touchpad or an analog slider like the PSP on it. It's got the D-pad, the four buttons, and they moved the start and select buttons also. But here's the funny thing is, why do you think they put the the analog stick on top? So when you need the D-pad, you have to pretty much hold your hand at the edge, and it's not lined up to the buttons as you're used to on your old DSs. Do you
yeah
have?
that was kind of yeah that was weird placement they had there. I guess it's pretty much it's going to be I guess 3D games will be mostly using the analog, and then the 2D will be using the D-pad is the only reason I could think of it. But
Yeah,
I
but
don't.
don't you think it's going to be weird to play? It's going to be backwards compatible. Try figuring out playing. Let's say, oh, what's out there? You could play. Let's play Chinatown Wars, for instance, or on it. Or what else is there? Games you could play. Yeah, Dragon Ball, where Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans used the D-pad constantly. Just
Mm.
figuring out holding your hands in that way, it seems weird, and I know it's probably going to be because they're going to use it, but for backwards compatibility I think it would have been better to switch it around and have the analog stick at the bottom
Yeah.
and the d-pad on top. Maybe the design is not finished yet, but it's definitely weird that they went that route. So, but it's 3D. It had a 3D slider, so you can go from not 3D to 3D on the screen. They announced that they are gonna try getting some 3D movies on it. Maybe a downloadable thing like Netflix. I don't know. Then we had Kid Icarus shown, which I thought looked a little bit more like a shooter than 3D action adventure game. What's your take on it, Britt?
Yeah, that basically the game's graphics got me excited. I don't know about the gameplay because I played the original Kid Icarus. That's straight platformer, of course, because it's an NES game. But that was a interesting take. I'll have to try that out. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. It did look like a I don't know pseudo platformer. It did look like it had some platforming in it, but yeah, I don't know what to feel about that. The graphics look good though.
Yeah, but then again, from what I've heard, the graphics are not on up to standard on the PSP. It's lower than the PSP and lower than the iPhone, and it's because all the power that the 3DS is going to have. It's going to use for, of course, the 3D is going to have to process two or three frames at the time to make the 3D visible for it. So, and even though even the funny thing is that the specs for the processor that came out a couple of days after it was announced, it's a processor from 2006, so it's a 4-year-old processor. I don't know why they went with such old technology, or and still does that, but maybe it's because the way that the hardware they figured out, and that's why it worked best. The processor, I don't know, but I think it might hurt them a little bit, or maybe not. Maybe the 3D is so great, and that's the big iffy. And I'm a big iffy on the 3DS because um, you can't see the 3D for yourself through a TV because it's 3D, and that's why they had all those models come out with a 3DS hooked up to their arm or whatever it was, so people can run with them, and show people it. And to me, and to me, that's a big. I see it as a marketing problem because the trailer that they show that's probably going to be their 3DS marketing campaign didn't s- I didn't get anything from getting the from Reggie being eaten by uh, eaten by
Bowser.
Bowser, or Miyamoto getting sucked into the 3DS, or whatever his name for is from the CEO for Nintendo getting put a
Iwata.
mustache, Iwata getting a mustache put on his face. I don't see that working for me. So I think the real and this goes out for of course also for Sony, and that's why Sony and everybody else has 3D TV booths anywhere in all over the world, in supermarkets and all that, so people can actually see what 3D is. I think Nintendo has to do that if they want to get this out there, because I'm not gonna put out, and the pricing is again if it's a new console, it's expensive. It's more expensive to make than the 3DS or and 3D sorry, the DSi. 3DS is more expensive to make than the DSi. Richie actually said that, so I'm guessing 250, maybe 299 for a 3DS when it comes out next year. Um, and that's gonna be hard to sell if you don't know how the 3D is gonna work for you. And what about if you have problems like you're colorblind? I don't know. What are your takes on it, Britt?
Uh, I I think it's got a lot of hype. I think it's gonna sell really really well. But yeah, it's definitely they're gonna have to uh, definitely have demos in all the stores like you were saying. To I mean, that's what I can't wait till. Hopefully, it'll be not too long if they're planning on doing it before March 31st, 2011. We'll probably be seeing demos and
Probably around Christmas, I think.
yeah.
If you're lucky, I think from my take is I think at Tokyo Game Show they're probably gonna say when it's coming out Japan, and after that it's gonna be maybe GDC. It's gonna say where when it's coming out in US and Europe, and I think maybe it's gonna be April for Europe and the US, and it's gonna be maybe around Christmas, maybe January is coming out Japan. I think they're gonna do it like a couple of months in between, to see the reaction on stuff. Maybe I don't know, but I'm definitely sure it's not gonna be worldwide release. That's one thing. But uh, another thing is, Kid Icarus is probably going to be a launch title. Iwata talked about Nintendogs, which is going to have cats also in the 3D version. Resident Evil 3D has been announced or not been announced. It's going to be said there is going to be something. Snake Eater is going to come out in 3D, or at least they demoed it. Some of the footage from it. A 3D game called Tangled. It's gonna come out. Activision is gonna do some 3D Hero. Level 5 is gonna come out with some stuff. Square Enix has talked about Kingdom Hearts 3D. Saints Row THQ 3D, and I actually think that's the right way to go because now we have a Grand Theft Auto title. I think it's time for a Saints Row title on a DS on a handheld, and it's a great game. And they talked a little bit about Batman 3D also, and a lot of titles that they probably didn't mention. And all those 3D games are probably going to come out around the 3DS, maybe afterwards, because it needs launch titles. But again, what do you think about, since we are talking about it's a 3D device, it's going to have maybe going to have 3D movies. How do you see the store and the online connectivity for this device to be? Because it has to change because the DSi, the DS Lite, the online connectivity is bullshit and doesn't. People couldn't give a damn about it because the store is shovelware, and there's no really good connectivity. You can't. The web browser is not that great. There's no reason to go online because most of the games are pretty much just ad hoc. There's no I can't see the device. They need to change something, especially if they want Netflix and stuff like that on it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you would think that would be one of Nintendo's main concerns. I mean, we've pretty much done the work for them, and it's kind of like an ongoing joke, just Nintendo's online period. So the whole WEP thing, and that they definitely need to improve, and that needs to be probably one of the first things that they look into is improving their online. And I hope that's addressed, and I hope they scrap friend codes and all that. And um, but yeah, you would think that Nintendo would by this point smarten up about it. As far as like some of the games you'd mentioned, like Metal Gear, Snake Eater, I actually saw a YouTube video of some of the demo of that. Of course, you can't see the 3D, but you see the game, and it looked really good. It looked like like the PS2 version.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm impressed. I can't wait for it to get my own hands on it. They have so many titles, Saints Row, Resident Evil. Most of those. I think Nintendo was smart about it and just threw out every title that they knew was being worked on. Who knows when they'll come out, but it's a good hype build up to know that we're going to get a Super Street Fighter. I mean, not Super Street Fighter, Street Fighter 4, Metal Gear,
Mm.
Resident
Well,
Evil, Saints Row, and all that. Paper Mario 4 and the Ocarina of Time remake. That huge.
there's plenty of old games to remake of it, and it's a smart strategy to do it, especially money wise. But the whole thing about um, what happened here? Let's see here. The whole thing about you're still there, Britt?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Oh, something happened on my computer. I don't know why, but anyways, the whole thing about the 3D and all the stuff they're doing, I can't see they are not. I can only see if they don't go online, or really good online with this console and step it up. I don't see the device working for them, especially the movie thing that they talked about. Then they can just stop talking about it. Tell Disney, sorry, we made a mistake. Tell Warner Bros, sorry, bye bye, we're not interested, and just concentrate on games. Because if it's gonna be gonna try movies, it has to definitely step up the online. But and anyways, online with a 3D device and all that. Uh, there's so many games like Saints Row has a huge online component to the main game. And it I can't see I can only see them not. I can only see it may being a mistake not to try to improve their online service. But it's Nintendo had a great show, definitely better than Microsoft in my opinion. They had some interesting games. Still, Kirby is pretty much the only thing on my radar right now, and the 3DS, but it's so far away. The 3DS that it's hard to say, and still we need I need especially to know what games are coming with it, what games are coming out, what's the price range of the games going to be, and what's the price range for the 3DS going to be, because I think it's going to be an expensive device. Um, but anyways, Sony again had a huge show, the biggest show, the longest show. It had a lot of things to cover, um, and yeah, let's start out with let's talk about Killzone. Killzone 3 was announced. It's gonna be 3D. It's been built up for 3D. You haven't played Killzone at all, Britt?
No, I played a bit of Killzone too. What I've played, I've liked. I haven't. I want to buy it, especially because did it went greatest hits, I think, or
Yep.
whatever they
Yeah,
call
I
it.
did.
So, I want to try that. Yeah.
Motorstorm Apocalypse 3D also probably also going to be built up from the ground up. iPad 3D with move support. MLB 10 3D also. The fight lights out. It's a 3D game also, but it's a move game. Tumble is a 3D and a move game also. They're really this is just in the first half hour where they're talking about 3D games. They're just pulling them out. The games that I'm interested in, definitely Killzone 3. I played the Killzone 2 on the PS3. It's probably the best first person shooter game on it. Motorstorm Apocalypse 3D. I like. I played Motorstorm the demo. Um, I think the Apocalypse style might be more interesting, but it depends on how many levels there are in it. I think Motorstorm is also. Did it go platinum? Also, greatest hits.
Yeah, I think so. I'm almost certain that it did.
Yeah. Um, I know Pacific Rift is really cheap on the PSP, so I have that. I haven't played it yet. But Crisis 2 is going to be in 3D, and Mortal Kombat is going to be in 3D. The new Mortal Kombat, which we don't know a lot about, we only know it's looking great. It's back to basic. It's brutal. It's got fatalities. It's really interesting. What's your take on all these games here? We just talking about a couple of them, but 3D is definitely Sony's pushing 3D, and they're pushing it with their console, with their content, and with their TVs also. What's your take on it?
I was impressed, or I didn't know that this many titles were going to be supporting the 3D, um, which I think is definitely a good thing for Sony because I just went out and well, this last Christmas I got a new Sony television. Unfortunately, it's not 3D. It makes me wish that
It's not
I don't know.
200 hertz.
It's I don't know what I think it was 120. I don't know.
Ah, sorry, sucks.
I think so. I don't know. I need to get the manual, but yeah, it's definitely not a 3D television. Which had I known beforehand, I probably would have probably would have gone the 3D route. They're not actually. It's not as expensive as I thought 3D televisions were going to be. I know Sharp has I forget, it's like a 50, whatever it was. They have a nice 3D TV out
A
that was,
52-inch probably.
yeah, and it was, I think it was under 5 grand or whatever it was. It was reasonably priced for, for a TV that size. So, um, but yeah, the Killzone 3D and the ones that are exciting me the most, the Mortal Kombat 3D. I love the trailer that they did, and I think it was convenient that they had the movie hype going on with it, so it kind of complemented each other, and the game looks great. That's a day one get for me. Also, another one, um, Gran Turismo. I'm a big Gran Turismo
Yeah,
fan, and it's the king of cars. Whatever Microsoft tries to do with Forza, Gran Turismo is the driving simulator game. So, um, really, really excited about that. That's a day one pickup for me as
November
well.
2nd this year.
Yeah,
Finally, or finally release date on that, and it is, in my opinion, it is, and this is funny because Game Trailers did a best graphics of E3, and Kirby won. Kirby Epic Yarn won, and no offense to that, I think Kirby is a great game, and I think it's not a great graphics game inside of that, but it is a great innovative graphics game in innovation. but Gran Turismo 3D, from the trailers, from the gameplay, what I've seen, is definitely the best graphics. I can't see almost any difference from the cars when you look at the real picture and the models one. It's looking insane, and I am a huge Gran Turismo fan. I have the first three of them. I didn't get this fourth one that came out. I didn't pick up the prologue. I played the demo, and I was a little iffy on the controls, but I hope this one plays a little bit better. I'm probably gonna pick it up. It's definitely a great game. Combat also. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, and Crisis 2 definitely intrigues me also, especially since I don't have to have a super killer rig to play it anymore, since I just can plug it into my PS3. Um, they have a huge amount of 3D titles: Sly Cooper Collection 3D, Tron Legacy, and that's pretty much where they stop talking about 3D, and they go over to switch over to the Move. And we can start out a little bit talking about the Move. The Move controller is coming out September 13th in Europe, and 19th, I think, US. It's a couple days after. Uh, and the Move control is going to be priced at $50. The sub controller, or the nunchuck, whatever you would call it, is going to be $30. There's going to be a bundle for people that don't have the eye. You can get the Move, an eye, and a sports championship game for $100. The total package, if you and this again is if you want to play every game the right way, you have and be sure you have for every Move game out there, you're gonna have to pony up $180. So $100 for the bundle, $100 for $50 for the Move controller, and a sub controller. Total of that $180. Um, because some games at least from what we've seen, some games need two Move controllers. Of course, we need the sub controller to play first-person shooters and or sports, like one of the game's sports champions. But I think the bundle, you will still be able to play all the games. But some of the games you might not be able to play every aspect of it fully. I think you're gonna play everything in the game, but not fully. Just like when you bought the Wii, if you want to play with a friend or something, you need an extra Wii control, Wii remote to play it, and so on and so forth. And I think it's the right way to price it, even though a lot of people disagree with me, because it's the same problem with the Wii. If you pick up Wii Sports Resort, you need free. You get with the game. You get one Motion Plus. You need three more Motion Plus. That's $20 each. Plus, you need a Wii. That's $150. You get one nunchuck. You get one Wii remote with that, and then you need three Wii remotes to have a full party game. So there's like every other console. People just need to remember there are other consoles out there when we're talking about pricing. The Wii did the same thing. You need to buy a bunch of plastic, bunch of add-ons to actually have a full set, so you're able to play everything in the game. What's your take on this, on the pricing here?
Yeah, it does seem to add up, just like whenever you go out to buy a Wii. Now you have the Wii Motion Plus, which you'll need to have for the Wii Motion Plus games, which is for pretty much now on out. It's pretty much what they're making mandatory for games like Zelda and the new Wii Motion Plus, Red Steel 2, and some of those titles.
Kirby's not going to need it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Kirby should need it. Actually, yeah, I guess it. I guess it depends on the title, but I saw, was it Killzone 3 they were using with the Wii Motion Plus?
Or you mean the Move?
The Move. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use it, but it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
That's the difference where they're going with the Move. It's Move support they're going to add into it, and for some titles which already are out, like Tiger Woods Golf PGA 11, it's going to have Move support, downloadable launch day when the Move comes out, and other games. So they're not forcing people to pick up the move because you need it. It's an add-on. So if you want a more precise or at least a feel for it for a move controller or for a motion controller, you have the option. And of course, there will be some games like Sorcery, which I was a huge fan of when I saw the game. That game really, really kicked my move into gear. Uh, when I saw that, I'm definitely picking Move up just for that game to play that. I really liked the demo on that. But it's still for hardcore games like SOCOM, like Killzone. Um, let's see, SingStar is gonna have some move support. Lords of the Rings, Aragorn's Quest. I don't think I'm not 100% sure if it's a move game, but that game definitely could be it's a hack and slash game. That could definitely just be a button masher. Also, Little Big Planet 2 also will have move support, but not mandatory as we know. Dead Space 2 will also have move support, but not mandatory also. So it's there's a lot of things. I think it's the right way to go to let people choose to see. Well, if you want to buy this, you can start out small to what you need. Get a move controller for $50 and a sub controller, and then you're going. That's $80. That's easy. If you don't have the right thing, you could just go with the bundle, and you're pretty much set. And you have some games to try out. Plus, you can use it for some of your other games. But it's I think it's flexible enough. Maybe they're going to change up the bundles after when it hits Christmas. But I think it's the right. I think it's priced right. I think it's definitely more appealing than the Connect. Even though it is $180 if you want a full set for at least to be able to for one person to play every game, but it's $50 as a start price. It's definitely more appealing than $150 start price. Uh,
Yeah, the oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the games that have me intrigued the most because I played Tiger Woods with the Wii Motion Plus. That actually works really well, and I think that for a lot of golf enthusiasts, even non-golf enthusiasts, Tiger Woods could be a big thing for the move, as well as was it the I might be wrong on this, but I think I saw the new Harry Potter game being played with the
Uh,
move.
it was not in. I didn't see it in the Sony press conference, but probably at E3 floor. You could
Yeah, that's
see
right.
see it there, probably there, and that of course since the sorcery game is a specific game made for the move. Harry Potter would be a no brainer to port the move over to definitely.
Yeah, I think those titles could help specifically kind of move the move, if you will.
Anyways, let's talk a little bit more about Move exclusive games. With one of them, of course, is Sorcery. I don't know if you remember it. It was pretty cool and impressive in my opinion. Another game was out there is Heroes on the Move, which has well at least a couple of characters that I know you're a big fan of. One of them is Ratchet. The other one is Clank.
Mm.
It has Daxter. It has some of the other ones. It looks okay. It's sadly not Insomniac that's making the game, but it looks interesting. It's probably early alpha that they showed. I don't think it's coming out until next year. But that I like that they think a little bit out of the box, actually doing a compilation of heroes because all you get free six heroes that are from I think let's see here, four different different games have their own series, so it's pretty entertaining, pretty interesting seeing that doing their compilation there. I don't know. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I actually watched the trailer for that because I watched the Sony press conference. Was it 2 days ago? Anyways, um, that one I was interested in. It was kind of I don't know this. Like you said, I'm a big fan of Ratchet and Clank. Huge fan of Ratchet and Clank, actually. So I think it's a good way to push because these are all Sony exclusive games, aren't they? The
Yeah,
characters that we're seeing.
all of them.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, so um, I think for Sony fans, this is a good way to push the move in, or get people to try it out. Especially even though these games aren't necessarily for younger people, I think it'll attract the younger people. Or not that we're old, but some of
Yeah, uh,
the
some of the younger
younger.
audience definitely because Ratchet and Clank is pretty much a Disney movie that you're playing, and it has a huge audience. And Dexter is the same thing, and Sly Cooper, I've heard also great things about. I never tried the Sly Cooper series, but
Yeah, me
it
neither.
it
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I've tried Jack and I've tried Ratchet, and those are both good titles. And the Sly here is of the same vein, similar gameplay type. But yeah, I will probably check this out. I'm not sure. They didn't really tell us too much about it, just that it's going to be based around these
Yeah,
three series.
but I think the first thing that we're gonna see for the move is we're gonna see the Sports Champions game, maybe another game, maybe at launch, and then we have all the support, all the downloadable content that we can see, where we can play it with old games we already have. Resident Evil is one of them. Sadly, it's only going to be the gold edition that's going to have the move support. So for us that have the collector's edition or whatnot, we have to trade it in or buy the new edition. It's not going to be
Yeah,
able to our edition, even if it's downloadable content. And I heard it's something about it's a tech issue with the game, and I don't understand why. But that's how it's going to go. Um, Time Crisis. I don't know if you ever played Time Crisis, but I'm a huge fan of it from the older days. From I think it was the Nintendo days, where you have the light gun. Time Crisis was there. It's an on-rail shooter. That's definitely a great thing to put out on Move, and they have other games like Sports Champion already mentioned. Start the Party move game, Superstar TV move game, the Shoot move game, which is a kitty thing on rail shooter. Lots of Lords of the Rings, Aragon's Quest, a move game also. Uh, huge support for the move, and again, it's the same with Connect, but I think if you compare it to Microsoft and Sony, especially how they are going to market their own peripherals, where Microsoft is marketing it more to, in my opinion, more to the non-gamer, the gimmick, casual audience, and the games that they show are pretty are are Connect games, but like for instance Forza, which is a hardcore game, we didn't actually get to. They didn't say if it's gonna be actually Connect only, if or it's gonna be having controllers also, and the difference between that, Sony is pretty much saying, well, we're gonna give an option for at least the download for at least most of our games, and of course we're gonna have exclusive titles, um, and what's your take about on that when it comes to how Sony markets their products?
yeah. It looks like they've kind of taken two different approaches. While Sony's kind of using it as almost an add-on to kind of enhance your experience, where Microsoft is showing a bunch of different new, um, co- yeah, guess new software is extremely for it. Kind of not mini game, but we saw a bunch of kind of Wii sports-ish games for it. Whereas Sony's kind of saying, hey, we're going to add this to Killzone, we're going to add it to Tiger Woods, and stuff like that. But I mean, there are games like I think there was a dance-centered game
Mm.
that uses uh, Move, but
I
yeah,
think it
I think
was SingStar is actually one of the part of it that were. I think SingStar was one of the games
yeah,
that's actually going to use it.
yeah. So yeah, they're taking two different approaches. Like I said, I was saying the Microsoft kind of it looks like they're going after the niche of the um, definitely family and kind of the older, the mothers and stuff like that out there, the Wii Fit type people. But Sony is looks like they're kind of going after the hardcore crowd with it. I don't know which approach is going to work out better, but it's like Sony saying we're going to enhance your experience, where Microsoft is saying is just using it as a kind of a standalone thing almost.
You know, especially when Kevin Butler came out and get and did his little speech. It
Okay.
was definitely meant for the hardcore. So I think they're going both directions with their product, which is I think it's meant for both directions, just like the Wii did, because hardcore people picked up the Wii, and of course casual people got into it because it's so easy a controller. But we'll have to see it. There's definitely games for everyone. After pretty much Kim Butler came out, they start talking about um, the a way to relaunch the PSP, and again Kevin Butler with a kid now called Malcolm was introduced to to kick off the PSP, and actually putting it on and saying that if you want to play hardcore games, the PSP is the right way to go. And of course, the hardcore game there is getting a sequel, and that's God of War Ghost of Sparta. But of course, they're gonna announce. They announced also Invisibles with it, so there's something for everyone. And to me, it's sad they didn't show a PSP2, because I think that would pretty much impress everybody, especially if some of the hardware rumors are true. But it's I think it's the right thing to do, because after the PSP Go came out, the people start boycotting more the PSP than ever, and it's gotten taking a big hit on it. But still, it sells well, and there are some great games on it. Peace Walker is one of them. You played a lot, and definitely a great game. So I think it's right to try to relaunch this, getting a fresh start, and saying now we have the Go and we have the old PSP. We're still gonna support both. They both can download a game if you want to go download content, and the other one you can play, of course, your UMD stuff with it. And we're still gonna put out great games. Ghost of Sparta is definitely looking great. So, what's your take on the PSP?
Um, Kind of mixed about it. Yeah, the biggest mistake I think with the PSP Go is not having. I think they're. I don't know if they're ahead of their time, but I think they almost jumped the gun with going straight to not. I think they should have saved that for the next PSP, just because of the not having the UMDs that you maybe had for your old PSP. I think if had they done that, then again, I guess that was the whole point of the PSP Go, was not having it. But yeah, um, I think it's a good idea definitely to try to relaunch it, because I know it did take a little bit of hit with the Go, but yeah, there's definitely some titles out there. I think that Metal Gear Peace Walker has helped them out a lot. I know the sales were really good
Mm.
in Japan specifically for Peace Walker, and they were pretty good over here in the U.S. too. But yeah, if you don't have, if you're a Metal Gear fan, Peace Walker's a must-have, and even if you aren't a Metal Gear fan, it's a great game. I think it's the as far as depth, um, replayability, things to do in the game. It has the most with Metal Gear. You have control of Outer Heaven, and you get to set up, yeah, send armies out on a mission, build your own army. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into that. But it's a great game, probably one of my favorite Metal Gear games. So it's really good.
Yeah, they're supporting it with games, so I'm definitely hoping. But I don't think it was wrong of them to go fully digital. I think what was wrong was there was not enough support for people that had already a catalog of games to translate over to digital content. Because if they had
Mm.
figured a good way to do that, and people to get every game they had over to their new PSP Go, uh, it would have sold like hotcakes because I got a PSP Go. The form factor is a lot better. It's better. It's held better in my hands, in my opinion, than the old one. And I like the digital stuff because I just come home from work, check my PSP, download it, and start playing. I don't have to go and find it because a lot of stores, especially since uh, uh, the PSP had digital, is gone digital, and there's not a lot of games out there to. They don't have them in stock. They don't have a lot of copies of them because most games that sell are pretty much on the consoles. So it's a little bit, especially in my country, a little bit low marketing.
Hmm.
So we have to pre-order stuff or order them from the internet instead of going out to GameStop. GameStop pretty much maybe have one or two copies of stuff, and that's it. But that was pretty much for the PSP. Not a huge talk of it. Only that they told they still sell well and all that, and it's still the preferred hardcore platform for handhelds, and I agree with that. We could the biggest example of that being true is that the DS when the most hardcore game came out for the DS, it didn't sell well, and that was Chinatown Wars, which pretty much was the biggest mistake not supporting that game because it's the highest rated DS game so far. Um, Little Big Planet 2 was then the next talk of it, and I gotta say, the first time Little Big Planet 2 was already announced before E3, we saw a trailer on it, and when I saw that trailer, I was just like, wow, it's incredible what they're trying to accomplish with this. Because this is pretty much, and he said that himself, the creator of it, it's pretty much now a platform to make games. You can make everything out of. You have now they're adding in robots, so you can actually program robots or androids or whatever you call them to do stuff in the games that you make or in the levels that you make. And from what they've shown from the people that had 24 hours to make something, they've made go karts. They've made so many great things. It's really impressive. What's your take on it, Brett?
Sorry about that. I had to pull my mic out real fast. But yeah, the Little Big Planet 2. I remember what that came out. The trailer came out a couple months ago. I'm not a I like the concept of Little Big Planet. It's just not a game for me. But the Little Big Planet 2 trailer even drew me in a little bit. The trailer was done really well actually too. So um, yeah, I think it's going to be a great sequel for those of you that uh, played the first one. And what they showed of it at E3, the customability in that game is insane. I thought the first one's customability was insane. The second one improves leaps and bounds over that. So first one sold well. Of course, it's a greatest hits game right now, I believe. So the second one I think is going to do even better, and it should be a good game for a good move for Sony, or I should say.
Yeah, I think the support for it is going to be huge, and you're gonna be able to import the 2 million levels that is in the first one over to the new one. So
Yeah.
it's an add-on. So it's incredible what they've done, and it's incredible what people can do with the tools that they have done. And they actually already hired a couple of the people that just made some levels on it. So it's interesting to see what how creative people can be. The next thing they talked about was PlayStation Plus, um, and yeah, it's uh, it's not what people expect, especially when the first talk about it was out there. PlayStation Plus is pretty much not as Xbox, a service where you get so many extra content when it comes to cross-in game invite and all that, friend codes and all that stuff that Xbox have. It's a little bit different approach. It's more based on a subscription where you get more content, game wise, and discounts on the store. So games, you actually if you're a subscriber between June 29th, which is the launch date for PlayStation Plus, and August 3rd, you will get Little Big Planet, the original Little Big Planet for the PS3 for free. And it's not something that you will lose when you end your subscription. So this is totally yours. Um, and the PlayStation Plus offers is, of course, uh, discounts, exclusive items on the the PlayStation Store, full games trials. You can play an hour of a game, full trial game before you go out and buy it. Automatic downloads, which I'm a little bit iffy about why they put this in there, because that should already be that should already be in the normal one. Um, I'm actually thinking about getting this. I'm actually thinking I'm getting this because the first year is $50, and it's actually cheaper than $50 over here. If you go to the PlayStation blog Europe, you can actually go in and find the price conversion for your country, and it's actually really cheap for me. So I actually, just by getting Little Big Planet, I actually just got half of the money that I spent for free with that game. So it's worth the first year, and I think they're gonna expand it a lot. I like the ideas with getting exclusive demos and all that, but I think they need to kick it up a little bit, and I think they will by when learn as they go. Um, the Americans will get, and this is something that I'm a little bit annoyed about. That the Americans will get core included with this package. Will not have Europe will not have access to core. We have a version which is called Play something, but it's UK only. Um, so there is still some issues here. But I'm interested in it, and I'm gonna pick it up here next week. What about you, Britt? Are you gonna hook up the $50 to get this?
I think so. I think whatever happens for Sony and the Plus, it's a win-win for them because I can't imagine that it's too strenuous on them. I think it's a good move. I mean, just a subscription basically that is kind of like you're saying, almost like a test run. I bet, or I would think that maybe when the next console comes around, that they're going to offer a similar to Xbox Live, and that's what I hope they end up doing anyways. But the subscription is a good first step, and they're actually offering what they're going to be doing Hulu and stuff. But I don't know if that actually doesn't have to do anything with the Plus though, does it? That's just on.
That's on PlayStation, but again, the problem is with Hulu and offering that, and the same with ESPN. It's US only, and it's great for you guys, but I think if they looked a little bit bigger, um, they could make more out of it. I'm actually just looking at first off at launch for PlayStation Plus will offer subscription for full PlayStation Plus network games, Wipeout HD, PSP Minis, and PS1 classics such as Field Runners, Age of Zombies, Reality Cross, full game trial of Infamous. And I know, Britt, you haven't played Infamous, so if you're
No, I
getting
have.
this, you will be able to play the first trial of Infamous, and that game is great. And you will get included core monthly fee, and core is actually it's actually $22, so you can slice half of it and say I am actually only paying $28 a year for this because I get core included with it. It's $50, so I think it's worth it. so far. I can see it adding up the first year, but they say in total for a year you're gonna save up. What is it they talked about? It's gonna be content for at least $1,800 for a year that you're gonna get. So let's see if they can make it happen. The only thing that I'm a little bit annoyed about is that some of the content that you get, some of the free games and all that, uh, you will lose the games when you end your subscription, which I think is a little bit like renting. But
Yeah.
again, I don't know. We'll have to see. Um, I think they're gonna push the PlayStation Network a lot, and I think they're gonna push Plus a lot. But we'll have to wait and see. Well, we're almost been going for 2.5 hours, but let's keep
Wow.
on. Let's keep this up. We're almost done here with our E3 coverage wrap up, or whatever you would call it. The next one they came out is the third party titles for the PlayStation. Medal of Honor was showed, and to me it looks like Call of Duty. It looks great, it plays great, and I'm actually been intrigued of the Medal of Honor series. I think it's gonna be. I think the storyline is going to be a little bit better. And of course, the PlayStation version is going to have an exclusive Medal of Honor remake of Medal of Honor Frontlines. So you're actually getting two games for the price of one. What's your take on it, Britt? Have you played Medal of Honor?
Yeah, I have, and I saw the what press conference was it? It was Ubisoft, right? That did the exclusive. No, it's EA. Where which press? They did an exclusive like.
EA is the holder or the publisher of Medal of Honor. I can't remember who's making Medal of Honor really, but EA's press conference they probably talked about Medal of Honor, but they also came out and showed some of the multiplayer for Sony.
Yeah, I was like you said, it seems like a lot of people are jumping on the modern warfare business. But I mean, I guess that's just smart. That's the smart thing to do. But it looked good. I don't know if I'm gonna. I mean, it's definitely not a game I'm gonna pick up right off the bat, but it's a game I'll probably try out.
Yeah, and maybe I know you will be able to get beta access for the multiplayer when you buy Core or when you buy PlayStation Plus because if you played some of the older Medal of Honor games and you have no, it was if you have Battlefield Bad Company 2, those are the people who's making it. Now I remember. If you have Battlefield Bad Company 2, you will actually already have been invited for their Medal of Honor package beta, uh, and they're actually EA talked about some new gun club they're announcing. It's called the Gun Club, where you get for picking up games, registering, and all that. You will get beta access and other cool stuff, downloadable content for these games that you picked up. Um, but EA is doing great things. The next EA game we're talking about is, of course, Dead Space 2, which I'm a huge fan of. Big Dead Space fan. They already at E3 the day before showed off at the EA booth the first part of Dead Space, but they stopped actually. I actually saw that, and they said the rest of this demo is going to be showed at the Sony conference, and they showed the last part of it, which looked really cool. It looks like it's a huge area that you're gonna explore, and again, um, you're getting PS3 exclusive content when you pick up Dead Space for the PS3, and that's going to be Dead Space Extraction is going to be included in the package, and it will have move support. So, you're excited for Dead Space?
Actually, I picked up Dead Space the original this last Black Friday, this last November, and I haven't got a. There's been so many games that have been lined up. I mean,
Yeah,
last year, So I want to try that out. And what actually I have it is still in the wrapping, and I what I want hopefully will happen, and I bet already happened during the marathon is when EA had their sale. They probably had it for really cheap. I'd like to get it on the PC to test it on my new gaming rig. If not, that's one of my games that's on my short list to play right now. As soon as I finish Peace Walker, I'll probably dive into
Mm.
to Dead Space. But yeah, I did see the trailer, and I was hoping I'd to avoid spoilers and stuff like that. But it looks great. The first one looks great. I remember watching you play it during our Halloween marathon 2 years ago, and it looks really fun. And EA, I remember for a while gamers were kind of down on it, but recently they picked up and one of the games. The reasons for that was Dead Space, along with what Mass Effect.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that yeah, Dead Space is definitely on my to buy list when it comes out. This no, it's actually, is it this year or is it just early 2011? I can't remember.
See.
Um, but anyways, it's gonna sell well, and I like that you get extractions because I was just like, I really like to get extraction, but I don't want to play it on the Wii. So I'm really glad that they are porting it over to PS3 and 360. It's coming to 360 also, but it's gonna be exclusive when you buy Dead Space 2. You will get Dead Space Extraction for free. So that's a
Right.
nice bundle.
Says the I don't know if this is the U.S. release date. I think it might be worldwide. It's January 25th. Oh wait,
Yeah, yeah,
that can't be right. It says 2010. That must be an error.
yeah. That's an error. Let me check. Let me check here. Dead Space 2. Yeah, January 2011.
Okay.
It was that date you said, but it's 2011. It's next year, early next year. So just after Christmas. But I know what I'm gonna do in January definitely. Um, Another thing that people were this here was a surprise for me, and it was a surprise for a lot of people when Gabe Nowell came out and apologized a little bit for his somewhere remarks on different events where he said that the this generation of gaming consoles is pretty much were the worst the worst consoles ever and all that. And now he stands at the Sony press conference announcing that Portal 2 is going to come out on PlayStation 3, and it's actually going to have Steam Cloud support, he said. So it's going to upload all the stuff to your Steam and all that. So
That's
that
really cool.
that's going to be cool, and I'm really interested in seeing how they're going to implement in this because the Steam Cloud support is it's definitely something new because we already know Orange Box and all that is out there, but the Steam Cloud support, if that's going to be implemented, also that's going to be really cool. Um, and the trailer looked great. I like Portal. The second one looks the same, a little better graphics, of course. The story is still in the open. Um, but it looks cool. And I think it's nice to see that Valve opened their eyes that the console market matters, even though Steam is selling a lot of games on their platform. We again saw Final Fantasy 14 online. Some more footage of that. I know, Britt, you're a huge Final Fantasy fan. Also, I don't know. Have you played any of the MMO games?
Yeah, I played. Actually, I played a lot of Final Fantasy 11, and
Mm.
it was pretty addicting. It was fun enough. I know Baltus also played a lot of Final
Yeah,
Fantasy
he
11.
still plays this, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. So, 14. Yeah, I'm excited about 14. Especially the biggest thing for me that I didn't like was the pay system. They changed that for 14, but yeah, it looks from that trailer that they showed at E3. There's also some gameplay showed. Um, I'm excited, and I think that's well. There's Force Unleashed, which for me is number one right now in MMOs that I'm wanting to play. But number
No,
two is
you mean the Old Republic?
I mean, I'm sorry, get them confused. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the Old Republic. Is number one of what I want to the next MMO I want to try out. But right
yeah,
after that, it's
definitely.
14.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and the Force. Now I'm saying the Force Unleashed, but the Old Republic. From what I've heard, I heard some of the from Epic Battle Axe actually playing it. He says it's gonna kick WoW off. It's so good. So I'm really interested in it now. Um, but Final Fantasy, and I'm sad. This is one thing that I'm really sad about for Sony. No talk about Final Fantasy 13 versus.
Oh
That's
yes.
that's something I really missed because and Final Fantasy at Jito for the PSP. Um, there's really they have some things up their sleeve. Maybe it's coming this year, maybe not. I've actually just seen. I think it was in Kotaku. I saw the first footage, game footage, screenshots of it. It looked gorgeous. Sadly, the screenshot was in poor resolution, so it wasn't that great. But you can see that it's turning out to be even better than Final Fantasy 13. But that was sad that we only got to see 14. But I'm excited about it. I played for 11 a little bit. Never got around to. I never got around to playing it hardcore like I did some of the other MMOs that I played. But I'm gonna check this out. I'm one of the people that is gonna be in the beta when it's released. I have access to it, and you probably also because you got your hands on Final Fantasy 13.
Hmm.
So we're probably gonna check that out. Mafia 2. I'm not a big Mafia fan, but it's coming out finally. I think it's been delayed almost a year now. And the great thing about it for the PSP is going to have exclusive downloadable content. And I think we're going to skip that a little bit because I don't know. Are you a big Mafia fan, Britt?
Yeah, actually, I'm not very. I haven't. I have played it, but I didn't ever beat it or
It's
stick to it.
great.
So
We all know it's a Grand Theft Auto game where you play a mobster, so it's not
yeah.
that big a difference. The game where I'm interested in, I know you're interested also, is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, uh,
Yes.
which is we all know is going to have some multiplayer, which is looking really interesting. It's going to have PS3 exclusive game content, and it's going to have exclusive only beta coming out later this year. Um, that game is first first day buy for me. I love Assassin's Creed. I love that they are still doing Ezio, and I'm hoping that we see a little bit more of the story because it really ended on a on a downer, on a cliffhanger. The second one, but I liked it. It was a good cliffhanger. What's your take on it?
Yeah, big Assassin's Creed fan. You're the one that got me into the series when you mailed me the first one, and then I played the second one, and the second one is just uh, one of my favorite games, actually, Assassin's Creed 2. And actually, I think Brotherhood, as far as trailer goes, I think it was definitely one of the best done trailers of E3. Really got me pumped for the game, and I was one of the people that was I guess skeptical what Brotherhood, what more could it add. But I loved Ezio. I liked his character more than I liked Altair's. Not that Altair's character was bad, but I think Ezio's we knew more about him and
Yeah, we
connected more.
more personal connection to him than Altair. Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
that.
and so Brotherhood, just that trailer got me pumped, especially how it ended with the two the knights and the assassins colliding with each other, the Templars, I should
Mm.
say, um, or whatever they were. um, it looks great, and that's a date, definitely day one, and I'm excited that it's this November, right? It's
Yeah,
November
it's
12th.
coming already this year. It's really and the beta is coming also really soon. It's really interesting to see, this beta is probably going to be the multiplayer beta.
Mm.
Um, so they're going to tweak a little bit on that. Um, I think definitely that was where Mafia 2 was a little bit boring to talk about. Final Fantasy 14 we already talked about, so I was a little bit in the low after Portal 2. It was going down for me, but when Assassin's Creed was announced and we saw the footage, it was so great. And the next game we're gonna mention is, of course, Infamous 2. I'm a huge Infamous fan. When it came out in 2008, 2008 or 2009, I can't remember. Anyways, when it came out, the other game that was out was Prototype. Those were the two superhuman games that were colliding at that point. They came out the same month, and
Yeah.
Infamous won sales wise, and Infamous, in my opinion, is the better game. Story wise, gameplay wise, I own both. I've played both. Um, Prototype was a great game also, but um it lacked personality to the character. There was a lot of missions were really repetitive. Where I think the missions in Infamous maybe a little bit repetitive also, but more fun because you had more interactive characters with it, and it had a bit of dialogue in it also. Uh, Infamous 2 looks even better. I like that they did a little more cinematic aspect to it. But what's your take on it? You haven't played any of it, so I'm interested in hearing what your aspects on it is.
Yeah, the first one is one of those games I need to pick up. Another greatest hits platinum game that you can pick up for fairly cheap. So, um, gonna try that out soon. But yeah, the trailer was well done. I know that E3 or G4, their coverage of it. Forgot who it was. It one of their guys was really excited about it. It looks great. What else was I gonna say about it? Uh, I say graphically it looked well. I mean, it looked like it was updated compared to the first one a little bit, and you're following the story of the same guy too, right?
Yeah, it's the same guy, Cole. I'm a little bit
You get more
sad.
powers too, right?
Yeah, it's the same powers. I think you get some new powers in this one compared on an add-on to this. But the only thing that I think is a little bit annoying is that it looks like they changed up the voice actor for Cole, so it's not the same voice actor, or at least then he's doing the voice differently because he doesn't sound the same way as he did the first game.
Yeah, it's a different voice actor. I remember hearing that actually kind of a while back. Someone tweeted about it. The guy that was going to be doing the voice acting or something.
Okay, but definitely a great game. So I was really pumped on that. And the last game that Sony announced was David Jaffe's secret project, Twisted Metal for the PS3. I've never played Twisted Metal. I'm definitely intrigued by this. It looks really, really fun. Um, it a lot of people in the audience, from what I could hear, was really excited about it. And I think they did it right with a nice trailer and and the ice cream wagon coming in and all that. And the game looks great. It looks like it plays great. Also, it's definitely something to look out for. What's your take on it? I think you actually played Twisted Metal, didn't you?
Ye- Yeah, I'm a huge Twisted Metal fan. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of the podcast. Before I went to bed, like at that point, I'd been up for a while. It happened during a marathon, and I wanted to stay up and watch the Sony, but I was just so tired, and I was like, uh, it was like I told Phil and Bear, I was like, if there's one thing that Sony does, one thing that will win the press conference or will make me excited about their press conference is if Twisted Metal 3 or the Twisted Metal PS3 is announced. And I went to bed and I woke up apparently right after it ended. I didn't get to sleep very much, but I woke up and I went in there and they're like, they just announced Twisted Metal. And I was like, yes. So I went and downloaded the trailer. I've played all the Twisted Metal games. Huge Twisted Metal fan. Especially Black was my favorite out of all of them. But besides Black, I'd say two or three. They were all great games, and so the new trailer. I mean, it looks a lot of the same, but that's what it needs to be. The game doesn't really need an overhaul. It's definitely the best card combat game out there. So, um, uh, yeah, I think this could do a lot for. Um, there are good online games for it, but I think this game is going to be the biggest one for PS3 as far as online games being played online. And I know that you could do it with Black. I think the second Black had an online. Actually, no, you could buy. I think they were selling the adapter with Twisted Metal Black, some collector's edition where you could play online with it or whatever. But
Okay.
I think that was like the original game with the network adapter. But yeah, this is going to be, I think, huge for that, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, and it looks like also that's why they chose it to be the last game that they announced. It looks like a lot of people were really excited about it, and David Jaffe did a lot of work to get people off the scent that he was actually working on the new Twisted Metal with his new company Eat Sleep Play. Um, but intrigued with it. It looks great. It plays great. I like that it's car only, so you don't have to go out and run around like a Grand Theft Auto game. Something a little bit new or maybe a little bit old school. But that's pretty much it for Sony. They, in my opinion, game wise, they had in my interest mostly, even though they had even though all the press conferences were great, but Sony just for my taste of games and for the hype that I feel is Sony definitely, in my opinion, won my more interest this year than Nintendo. Even though Nintendo had the Epic Yarn, which I'm definitely waiting to check out in the 3DS, but it's hard for me to get excited about stuff that is that's so iffy, like the Zelda, the Epic Mickey, and Donkey Kong didn't have my interest. And as long as I don't know how the 3DS is working for me, as per se for my eyes, because I actually heard that. Again, somebody twittered out that he's colorblind. He couldn't really see the 3D, and that's a problem for people. So Sony definitely gets my thumbs up for this. But what's your take on the whole press conference? I'm pretty sure I know you're probably going to say Sony, and I trolled Rob a bit during the marathon as my as my in disguise chat. Chat name, and Rob definitely was. If he could, he could have strangled me. But it was fun to see that people really. It looks like a lot of people say that Nintendo won, but what's your take on it?
Um, Out of all the three press conferences, I liked probably Nintendo the most, then Sony, then Microsoft. Um, I liked all of them. I think as far as like E3 goes as a whole, this is one of the best
Mm,
E3s.
definitely.
Um, but yeah, each conference had something to offer, and some of the titles that highlighted it for me were um, the Epic Yarn, all the 3DS announcements, the um, Skyward Sword, of course, and then on Sony's side, I pushing me closer to getting a 3D TV, but that might be a little bit down the road. And then, of course, like I said, Twisted Metal 3. Um, uh, what was I going to say? Final Fantasy 14, and some of the move capabilities, and of course, Portal 2 also got me pretty
Yeah.
pumped too.
But
Uh,
there's so many games, and it's incredible how many dollars we're gonna spend on all this because
Too much.
it's too much. Uh, because for me and I know for you, we own every platform out there.
Mhm.
Microsoft's, Sony's, and Nintendo's, and I know I am probably gonna pick up the 3DS. It's not about that, but it's just like I don't wanna pull the trigger already without getting all the facts, and
Yeah.
especially since it's and they did the press conference right. I think the press conference was great because they did it right. They saw it instantly that we can't market this to you guys over a screen, over a stupid video or a commercial. We need to get it into your hands. That's why they had all those girls come out.
Yeah.
Um, but it's more like, how are they gonna hit the consumers? Because that video didn't do anything for me. Um, and a lot of people can talk. It's so great. It works so great. It looks awesome and all that. But in the end, it is yourself that needs to see it for your own eyes before you pwn up $200-300 or more because you need games and all that for it. And the same goes for Sony. If Sony and Microsoft, you need to pwn up a little bit of money to get some of the new stuff, a new TV and all that. And I actually, before the E3 conference started, I actually was out looking at 3D TVs because I was. They finally had some good ones out there, and they're still a little bit. It's I don't think you should buy one yet. It's too early to tell, and there's a big difference from TV to TV and the glasses that you use. I saw a Samsung TV with their glasses, which worked okay. Then I went over to a Panasonic, where the TV looked a lot better and the 3D worked better, but the glasses were horrible to have on because they were a lot heavier. And sitting for 2 hours or 1.5 hours is watching a movie with that, or an hour playing a game with those horrible, uncomfortable glasses, that's not gonna work. So
Yeah.
I think we're still at the beginning of 3D. So I think definitely wait for it to come out. Sony Bravia hasn't hit the shelves over here yet with the 3D TV, so wait for it. That's my bet on it. Pooh, that's definitely a long podcast.
Yeah.
We're hitting 3 hours now, people, and I will thank you for listening, and I will thank Britt for taking a part of this. A little bit more detailed E3 coverage than I hoped for, but I think it's okay because I skipped Sony a lot last time, the last podcast that I did the E3 coverage because I was so tired of the day and I needed to work, so it was only 15 minutes. So I think we did people we did people a favor this time going through it again, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. And I hope you might come on again, Britt, if you
Yeah,
if you
definitely.
if you want to, because it's always nice to talk games with somebody. Um, so I want to say thanks for listening, people, and I'll see you next time. Bye.